Alex,
Yes, sir.
hello.
What's
We're
up?
here in person.
We are.
I can touch him.
I know.
It's great.
We're here. It's Tyler's real. I'm real.
We are in person for super episode number 2. Well,
Yes.
3 if you count the catfish, but that was one of those ones where I just got lazy and forgot to uh, export the episodes to Spotify. So we made it one big one. But we're here for Percomorphs. We've been kind of hyping this up for months.
Well, yeah, a good bit now at this point. Been taught. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the grand finale almost for the fish. Definitely for the rayfin fish because this is the last group
Yeah, and we
of
have
the rayfin
we have
fish.
20 pages of notes to go through, and we
Yes.
didn't even finish today.
This is gonna be quite an episode. If you guys thought that the insects was a doozy, you're in for a ride today. Let me tell you.
But as always, welcome to Life the Complete Story. I am your host Tyler, joined by my lovely co-host Alex, and we'll start how we always start with art, nature, in the news.
Yes, sir.
So
This one's pretty cool. This just dropped like yesterday.
yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
so this is about the Great Salt Lake out yonder in Utah.
So those who are not familiar, it is basically an inland ocean out in the state of Utah in the United States that is, as the name suggests, is a big lake that is very salty.
So over the past, yeah, pretty much. But over the past couple, let's say, couple dozen years, the Great Salt Lake has been shrinking. And as it's been shrinking, we're finding these kind of oases throughout the lake. So you're getting like just mounds of dirt that have reeds and everything. And the reason I picked this article for today was because over the past couple weeks we've kind of been having that succession discussion.
Yes.
So this is kind of one of the ways that primary succession occurs is whenever there's new land coming up from the water surface. Not necessarily the Great Salt Lake, preferably oceans.
Yes, in the sense of like volcanic activity making new islands is usually where you see that.
So we're getting little mini islands throughout the Great Salt Lake that we're seeing an uptick in like vegetation growth and things like that. So we are kind of getting some new succession going on here. Obviously, it's kind of slow, and it's kind of just starting now. So it's going to take a couple years for like the first lines of succession to go through. But these are groundwater fed oases instead of fed by the lake, which means it's fresh water in those areas.
Yeah.
But that's all I have. This article was published by the University of Utah. And do you have anything else to add, Alex?
I do not. I was actually just looking up salt constant. So for the Great Salt Lake, to give you an idea, it's actually typically 5 to 10 times saltier than the ocean.
Yeah. So I think the ocean's what do we say, like 3% salt?
I think so. Yeah. So on the southern, they call it the South Arm, which is Gilbert Bay of the Great Salt Lake, receives most of the fresh river water. So it's only about 5 to 15% salt concentration, while the North Arm is pretty much fully saturated with salinities as high as 30%, which is insane.
Yeah, and there's a lot, like, it's kind of hard to like go to Great Salt Lake and be like comfortable because there's so much dust that's kicked up, and that dust is just salt.
Yeah, and the reason it is because it has a feed in from a river, but there is no outlet from the lake, which is why it has become so salty, because the only way for water to leave is through evaporation, and that makes it worse because it just leaves the salt behind.
Right. So we'll move on. We'll go on into our lesson for the day, and as we kind of said, this one's going to be
a doozy.
It's going to be a ride and a half. We're talking about Percomorphs. They are the largest and most diverse clade of the rayfin fish.
Yes.
There's about 17,000 species within just this clade. Obviously, we're not talking about every single species. We'd be here for a day and a half.
At least.
Yeah.
If not more.
And these guys are found in both saltwater and freshwater ecosystems. This covers anything from your largemouth, smallmouth bass that you go fishing for, and lakes and things like that, all the way to puffer fish, to sailfish and swordfish, things like that. Alex pulled up an image,
Yes.
well, multiple images.
These are your just a smattering of the Percomorphs.
Right. So these guys thrived during the Cenozoic era, which would be current day, uh, following the Cretaceous extinction, where the dinosaurs died out, uh, and that's where we used. They've been around for longer than that, but the major diversity boom kind of came following that dinosaur extinction. So our first form we're going to talk about, Alex.
So our first, we're heading into our subseries, correct?
Yes, this is the first subseries.
Okay. So our first subseries, I want to get my picture.
Look at that
I
guy.
believe this is the right picture.
That is a cusk eel.
Is our subseries is the subseries Opidida. Oh.
Yeah.
So covering the order of Ophidoideae. So these are the cusk eels and pearl fishes. So the members of this order are oviparous. It means they have
Eggs.
they just lay eggs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Should go over those as an ecology encyclopedia.
Yeah.
What do these mean? What are like vocabulary? What does this mean? Um, they have a caudal fin that is joined with the anal and dorsal fin, as you can see in the image. It's pretty much one giant fin.
Yeah.
In the back.
It kind of wraps around the body. It goes from basically right behind the pectoral fins, all the way wraps around the tail and goes to the anal fin, which is about the median point
Yes.
of the ventral side.
Yes. They lack an external intermittent organ in males for sperm delivery, so they're probably like a lot of other fish where it just kind of comes out of the cloaca.
Yeah, there's still an external organ on the cloaca though for males, but they lack this one.
Okay. And we have four families. Yeah, four families within this order. The family Acanthonus is the deep sea cusk eels, which might be one of what this picture is.
That's probably a bearded one.
I don't remember.
It's got the thingies.
That's true. There are three species in that family. The family Brotulidae is the bearded cusk eels. There are six species. The family Ophididae. Man, I'm getting better, but it still sucks.
It is.
These are just the cusk eels, which have 240 species in 50 genera, and then the Carapidae are the pearl fishes. There are 26 species in 4 genera.
That'll lead us into our next group for the day. These are going to be the subseries Batrachoideae in the family Batrachoideae. And these guys are your toadfish or frogfish. They get that name based off of their mouth and facial structure. It kind of looks very frog-like. They are known as benthic ambush predators because they have such good camouflage, and they favor muddy and sandy substrate. Kind of helps them blend in. They have a singing ability, which is weird for a fish.
They sing?
They sing in quotation marks.
Okay.
They use their swim bladder to make a noise. Basically, by constricting their swim bladder and releasing air, it makes a higher pitched noise, which can even be heard from the surface in some species. They are one of the most basal Percomorphs, second off the list, right after the cusk eels we just talked about. They're typically scaleless, and they have eyes set very high up on their head. They have a large mouth, typically with barbells around it. In some cases, those barbells kind of blend in as camouflage, where there's like a leafy extrusion or something like that off the body. As I said, they're often sandy or brown in color to blend in with that substrate. Although sometimes in those reef ecosystems, they're a little bit brighter. This one is kind of like a mishmash. It looks like it's a little bit brighter from the reef, but also has that brownish coloring to it. They range anywhere from 3 to 22 inches. They're found worldwide in marine habitats, with the subfamily A found in the fresh waters of South America, and they are able to survive outside of water for 24 hours, and they use their fins uh, as kind of legs to move across mud flats during low tides. And they have a high degree of parental care, kind of unusual for fish, where the males will guard the eggs at their nest for weeks, from during the egg and embryo stages until they're young and until they hatch and are able to fend for themselves. And there's 83 different species within 21 genera for these guys.
Fantastic. Well, that will take us into our next group, which is the gobiforms. There's a whole lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So let's start into our first group, and then I'll have to switch for pictures because I ran out of time putting pictures together. But we'll start so this is the subseries Gobida, which contains the order Gobiforms, which then
Has a couple
has
families, yeah.
a few suborders, and then a handful of families underneath of it. Um, so they all kind of differ in appearance between the different members, but they all share a similar. I was trying to think of the right word. Kind of similar patterns in the. All of them have like adhesive eggs, which means their eggs like stick to whatever surface they're laid on, and they have a very elaborate parental care. So they are a fairly basal group, diverging during the mid Cretaceous. Um, it takes us to our first
Family. No suborder, yeah, correct.
suborder, uh, Apognoideae. These consist of the forehead brooding Curtidae and the mouth brooding Epongonidae. So you can see in the picture I pulled up, this is from the family Curtidae. They're known as the nursery fish. They're kind of freaky because they have that big kind of hook like open flat spot in their head that the eggs are laid into. So they inhabit the fresh and coastal waters of India to New Guinea and northern Australia. They carry their egg clusters on the forehead hooks of the males. So the males are the ones that are carrying the eggs, but at least until they hatch. And their gas bladder is enclosed in a bony structure that is evolved from their ribs. So they have a little more. We're getting a little more advanced as far as a lot of the swim bladders are concerned.
Yeah. That'll take us into our second family from this suborder. Apogonidae. These guys are known as cardinal fish. They inhabit the marine tropical waters of the world, mostly reefs and lagoons, with a few found in fresh water.
I'm trying to pull up pictures, being slow.
Yep, you're good. Some are kept in household aquariums. Uh, Probably the fish that Alex is going to pull up. Yep, it's like a zebra cardinal fish. I think is like the familiar name for it. Um, they are generally small, typically less than 4 inches long. They have a dorsal fin divided, so it kind of forms two separate ones. They have large mouths, and they are nocturnal. They spend their days in the cracks and crevices of the reef, and when they brood their eggs, the mouths kind of brood them in their mouth, the males brood them in their mouths. Hence why they're mouth brooders. Uh, but during that time of incubation, the males are obviously unable to eat uh, since they have eggs in their mouth. And there's a load of species, about 370 species within 38 genera. I don't think I marked it for Curtidae, but there's only 2 species of Curtidae.
Okay.
And that'll bring us over into our next group, Trichonotidea.
Yes. So these are known as the sand divers, found throughout India and the West Pacific. They have these jutting lower jaws that kind of stick out. It's hard kind of see them in the image that I pulled up. It's hard for us to see because the TV is a little far away. You can see that jaw sticking out underneath, and it also have 5 soft rays and a single pelvic spine. So the rays on their fins, you can see kind of a few sticking up on the top of the head. They're kind of very soft and wispy looking, and then of course the rays of the rest of the fins, kind of those ribs, and then that single pelvic spine, which you can't see in this picture just because the fish is close to the bottom.
Yep. That'll bring us into our next group. This is the largest group out of the gobiforms. This is Gobioidae. They are known as gobies. They are the most diverse suborder within the gobiforms. There's around 2,211 species between several families, and then there's a bunch of genera within those families. They have larger heads with tapered bodies, and they are primarily benthic species, which means they live along the seafloor, or they burrow into the seafloor itself, and they have no gas bladder. What'd you find?
So I was starting to find as we're getting into our families. So to start, we will start with the loach gobies, if this wants to cooperate.
I believe in them. But
I can do it.
the loach
I
gobies
got
are.
it. There we go. I found it. Don't worry.
Look at that guy.
There you go. That is the family Rhyasichthyidae. These are the loach gobies. These are the more primitive group, most primitive family within the gobies. There are only 3 species and 2 genera, but they do inhabit both marine and freshwater within the Western Pacific.
I'll take us to our next group, Odontobutidae. There's 22 species in 6 genera, and they live in Eastern Asia. And these guys are known as the freshwater sleepers. Alex, pull up a picture. As you can see, they have that tapered body formed with that big head. Alex, what do we got for the next group? You got a picture for them yet?
No, not yet, but give me a second. Get my mouse.
Maybe the mouse will be better.
Be a little faster. I don't even.
Did you bring your mouse?
So unprofessional. There
it's
we go.
Okay.
I found it.
I'll cut it.
We are not professional podcasters. We are doing this because for
We
the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game. You get to see a little bit of, especially when Tyler and I are together. We've known each other for way too long, and it gets a little goofy.
Yeah. But this is Milieringidae.
Yes.
There's 2 genera with 6 species. One genera native to Australia, and the other genera native to Madagascar. And these
there
guys,
we go.
These guys are cool. They're kind of blind cave gobies. They're what are they called? Troglodytic species would be cave living. That is the picture that Alex pulled up for Milieringidae. They have that typical cave dwelling body form where it's very pale, blind. You can see that there's skin covering the eyes because they don't need to use their eyes. It's too dark for them.
Yeah, they really don't care that much. That will take us into our next group. This is the family Eleotridae. These are known as the sleeper gobies. There are 26 genera containing 126 species. They are found in freshwater and mangroves, which then gives them, especially with being found in the mangroves, you find them a lot in the tropics, but as well as the temperate waters as you get further away from the equator worldwide. This is a picture of one of them. The other family, the next family, Butidae, is also a family of sleeper gobies, but these are native to the Indo-Pacific and Western African coast, with only about 10 genera within 46 species.
That'll lead us to our next group. Oh boy, Thalasleotridae. They live in the temperate waters of Australia and New Zealand. There's 3 species within 2 genera. We'll let Alex get a quick picture up for us before we move on into our next group.
Bingo.
Look at that.
Make it bigger.
Bingo. Perfect.
You're going to love all the clicks.
And our next grouping, Alex, what do we got for us?
Our next group is Oxudercidae. These are found in marine and freshwater habitats of temperate and tropical regions worldwide. There are 86 genera with 600 species. These are famously known as the mud skippers. Give me a moment because you'll want to see these guys.
They're cute.
They're fantastic.
They're relatively adorable for a fish.
Yes, it is great. I'm trying to find a good picture for you. I guess this will do.
Little dude just chilling.
Just little guy, big chilling. These guys are great because they are known to quite literally skip across the mud. They will come out of the water, and as they're like transferring between bodies of water, they have a they use kind of their pectoral fins to help them kind of bounce along and jump along the ground. And I believe they also have a pair of fins along the front that are like specialized to kind of help them hold on to the like a rocky surface. Or am I
That's
thinking
the
of?
next group.
Oh, that's the next group.
Speaking of, the next group is the Gobiidae. That's the largest, most diverse group uh, of the gobies. They are most diverse themselves within the tropics of the Indo-Pacific, although they can be found worldwide in both tropics and temperate regions. They're mostly solitary, but some have formed some symbiotic relationships. Uh, some have it with the alphaid shrimp, and others, the cleaner fish is goby that cleans the teeth and the bodies of various other marine fish. Some are sequential hermaphrodites, which means that they start life as typically a female and can turn into a male, or vice versa. One of the two.
Yeah, that I don't know because I think it differs.
I think it differs by species.
There you go. That's fine. Yeah, a goby.
They have extreme parental care, similar to other gobies, but they often watch their nests for weeks on end, typically until the juveniles are able to hunt for themselves and feed on their own. And these guys have a fused pelvic fin in some members that helps with migration, able to stick to hard substrate like waterfalls and things like that, uh, or just to the continental shelf. And I just put up a picture,
Indeed.
and then leads into our next series,
Yeah.
our next sub series.
Next sub series. We're moving right along. Don't worry, everyone. We're just getting started.
We have a lot to cover.
Yes. Um, so our next sub series is Signatharia. So what that is these are fish that have generally elongate, narrow bodies surrounded by a series of bony rings with very small, kind of tubular shaped mouths. Um, the most defining characteristic is the way their kind of reproductive system, the organization works out, is because the males are the ones that become pregnant and carry the embryonic fry or the eggs until they hatch, and then the males will house the fertilized eggs in a brood pouch, or in some species they stick to their tail, and then until the eggs reach maturity, and then they hatch. So from that, if you didn't kind of get it from that little overview of the whole sub series, these this is the whole group that includes the sea moths, sea horses, sea dragons, things of that nature. But we're not quite there. We'll start with the suborder Dactylopteroideae, which are the gurnards.
That's a cool picture.
You find a cool picture.
Yeah, I'm just on 100% on my tablet, so therefore you're on your own, bud.
Okay, I was like, oh wow, you're gonna give me a hand.
I can't. My account for Riverside is used for everything else. But these flying gurnards are marine fish notable for their greatly enlarged pectoral fins. Uh, Although they can't actually fly or glide, so like the flying fish can, um, the other name they use is the helmet gurnard. They possess a swim bladder with two lobes and a drumming muscle that can beat against the swim bladder to produce sounds, similar to the toadfish. Uh, they have heavy protective scales, and the underside of their huge pectoral fins are brightly colored, possibly as a means of startling predators, kind of like how butterflies have eyes on their wings.
Yes. The other family within this suborder is Pegassidae, kind of named like Pegasus. These are the sea moths.
If you click on the hyperlink, it pulls up a picture. Imagine that. But sea moths have an unusual appearance. Alex.
Yes, they're kind of goofy looking.
There's no fins on there.
No,
Looks like a bicep.
it's odd. But they are very notable for this kind of unusual flat appearance. Their pectoral fins look like wings. They're pretty large in comparison to the rest of the body, which is where the family name Pegasidae, kind of named after the Pegasus of mythology. And they have a long snout and a body encased in very thick bony plates. So you can kind of see, even though they are small, they do look quite well armored for being little guys. And they are found primarily in the coastal tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific. That takes us to our next suborder within the Cygnatherians, which is the suborder Calionemoideae. Words. So uh, within here we have the family Calionomidae. Yes,
These are the dragonettes
these are the
for the normal
dragonets.
people that don't like saying things in Latin.
Yes. There
Uh,
we go. Sorry.
there we go. Look at that.
Took me a moment.
Very dragon-like. These guys are found mainly in the tropical waters of the western Indo-Pacific. They are benthic organisms, spending most of their time near the sandy bottoms. At a depth of about 200 meters. There's about 139 species within this single family and 19 genera. Due to similarities in morphology and behavior, sometimes they're confused with gobies. They do look a lot like gobies. Uh, however, they can be differentiated based off of long dorsal fins and lower jaws in the females. Protruding jaws in the females.
And then our next family is the family Draconetidae. These are the slope dragonets. A little different. Still looking very similar. So this is a small family containing only about 12 to 14 species. I'm guessing there's a little question on a couple species if they do actually belong within the slope dragonets. You can tell they're a little different from the other dragonets. I'm going to guess based primarily on the head structure, where it's a very flat kind of sloped structure. But these are found in the temperate to tropical waters of the Atlantic, Indian, and Western Pacific Oceans. Closely related and similar to the dragonets, Calionomidae, but they are a little smaller, with the largest of the slope dragonets reaching only 12 centimeters, or just over 4.5 inches long, about 4.7 inches long. But like the regular dragonets, they are bottom dwelling fish and usually show a lot of sexual dimorphism.
That'll bring us into our next suborder, uh, Muloidae, with the family Molidae, which are known as the goatfish.
Very colorful.
They are very colorful. Due to a relatively nondescript body plan, it does just have like the typical fish
It's just
plan.
very generic fish look.
Yeah, this is model fish.
Yes, this is fish.
Yes. It was kind of hard to put them in their place because they just look like a fish.
Yeah.
So we knew they were Percomorphs, but we didn't know what suborder or series they went in. But now we're seeing that they belong in the Cygnatheriforms, specifically the benthic clade of Cygnatheriforms, which would be like the
guys we just talked
yes,
about.
everything else that we've talked about, the dragonets, the grenards, things like that. They have two chin barbels, which contain chemosensory organs and are used to probe the sand for food, similar to what cod do that too. That's why they have their chin barbels.
Yes.
Many goatfish are brightly colored, and the largest species, the dash and dot goatfish, which is not this one, grows to 24 inches in length, although most species are less than half the size. And speaking of species, there are 86 species within the 6 genera. Moving on to the next clade, we have the long-snouted clade.
Yes. This is the more derived clade of these fish, which starts us first. So there's two suborders Oh, no, it's just one suborder. Sorry,
He's lost in the sauce.
I'm lost in the sauce. Listen, there's, as you said, we've got pages of notes. It'd be a doozy. The suborder Syngnathoideae is the
Suborder.
suborder that we're looking at, which covers this clade. So the family we're looking at first is the family Allostomidae, which is the trumpet fish. They're also kind of funky looking. This is a monogeneric family, so one genus containing only 3 species. They are found in tropical waters worldwide, 2 of them being in the Atlantic and 1 being in the Indo-Pacific. They're mostly kind of demersal reef dwellers. Demersal being, I think they kind of live just kind of chill towards the edge, like
The seabed.
the seabed.
Yeah. Not quite the benthic region, but right above it.
Yeah. But there's one species that kind of prefers to the more rocky substrate instead of the reef.
I'm gonna guess it's this one.
I don't know.
Show me the reef in the background, Alex.
That looks like a reef in the background.
No, that's seaweed.
That you sure? It looks like coral. But these are goofy looking. A lot of the fish in this suborder are, as I kind of alluded to when we first started this group, they are weird.
Yeah, they are little goofballs. I'll bring us to our next family, though. Fishularidae. Once again, our monogeneric group. Fishularia. These guys are known as the cornet fish. Similar in appearance to the trumpet fish, although a little bit different. These look more slender and uniform in body, thickness at least. They are found. There's 4 species found worldwide in the tropics and subtropics of marine environments, and they range for. They can go up to 6.6 feet, so 2 meters, and they are thin and elongated like eels, but have very long snouts and distinct dorsal and anal fins. So that's one of the things that kind of distinguishes an eel as an eel is that it has one continuous dorsal anal caudal fin. And they have forked caudal fins, whose center rays form a lengthy filament. And they have a well-developed lateral line. That'll bring us to our next group, Alex.
Our next group, hold on, I was getting pictures ready. Our next group is the family Centricidae?
Yes.
Okay, making sure I'm keeping up. Sorry, I was getting myself too far ahead, trying to get pictures down ready. So these are the shrimp fish or the snipe fish, also known as the bellow fishes. There's a pretty small family consisting of only about a dozen marine species and 2 subfamilies. They have a very unusual appearance. The shrimp fish are restricted to the shallow tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific, while the snipe fish and bellowfish are found in temperate and deeper tropical waters worldwide. They have a very compressed razor-like body, as you can see in the picture that I got pulled up, where they have a very kind of sharp ventral edge. So the bottom side, the belly side, and then they have the dorsal surface is nearly straight, ends in like a long snout, the very tiny mouth at the end. They have little pincer-like jaws that lack teeth, and as you can see, they kind of tend to swim with their heads pointed down towards the substrate. Don't really know why, but they do.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy.
And it's something like that, even like researching, they're not quite sure exactly why they do it. They think it may be the way they feed, or I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
Or their gas bladder is too buoyant, and they don't have enough mass on the rest of their body too.
I don't know. They're kind of funky. That'll take us to our next family,
which is Solenostomidae. These are the ghost pipefish. There's another mono. Oh my lordy lordy!
They are weird.
It is a monogeneric family, so one genus again with 6 species in it. They are found in the tropics of the Indo-Pacific, And the largest member is no longer than 7 inches. And they feed on tiny crustaceans, which they suck through their long snout, kind of like a vacuum cleaner.
Mm.
And they live in open waters, except during breeding, where they find the reefs or the muddy bottoms, and they change color and shape to minimize visibility, which is unique. I don't think I've ever heard of a
Not too many fish
fish changing color
do
or
that.
changing shape, really.
Yeah, for that matter.
And that brings us to our final family for this series.
Is the family Syngnathidae, which is what the whole order was named after. These are the seahorses, pipefish, and sea dragons. I put up a picture of a leafy sea dragon. Maybe you know seahorses look very similar. Pipefish are a little different. They look very much like the trumpetfish that we looked at to start, but they're much smaller. So they are found in temperate and tropical seas across the world, primarily in shallow coastal waters, but there are some that are found in the open ocean. They are typically found in association with mats of sargassum, which I believe is kind of like a
It's a seaweed.
free floating
It's a
seaweed.
free
They are characterized by the long snout, which they have fused jaws, so they really just kind of suction with their tiny little mouth. And they lack pelvic fins, but they have thick bony plates of kind of armor, quote unquote, that cover their bodies. The male seahorses have that, as we talked about to start the group, that specialized brood pouch on the ventral side to carry the embryos. Sea dragons attach the eggs to their tails. So that's a big differentiating feature of the two. And male pipefish can do either, depending on the species. So they kind of just said, whatever I feel like. But this is the biggest group within this whole series or order. This family contains about 252 species in 62 genera. So this is a doozy.
That brings us to our next sub series. This one is one of my personal favorite sub series, Pelagiaria, and these guys include everybody's favorite food, the tuna.
Yes. Tuna is great.
But there's a couple little groups we got to get through before we get to the tuna. First off, we're going to be the family Amorcipidae, which would be in the suborder Stromatioideae. And I will give Alex a second or two to find a picture of the Amarcipa.
Funky.
They are small and slender fish found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans around the equator. They're found in the pelagic zones, which would be kind of the open ocean, down to 430 feet, and they reach roughly 8 inches in length. Alex, what do we have next?
Next, we have the family, excuse me, sorry, Centralophidae. These are also known as the Medusa fish. There's only about 31 species in 7 genera, but they are found worldwide in the tropic and temperate waters. Why are they called Medusa fish?
That's a great question.
Because they
don't look
like I was expecting like
snaky.
Yeah, like when you think of Medusa or a Medusa. Interesting.
Yeah, I can give you.
They're just kind of very round.
You the answer.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, they
Well, while you find the reason they're called Medusa fish, I'm going to pull up the picture for the next group.
I have no answer for you on why they're called Medusa
fish. That's fine. Just curious.
Although they use jellyfish as protection.
That may be why. They found a lot within the jellyfish.
Yeah, like man of war and stuff.
Yes. That might be why they're called Medusa fish. That
makes a lot of sense.
Using the brain.
That'll bring us to the next group.
That'll bring us to our next group.
Nomidae. These are the drift fish. 16 species in 3 genera. Largest species reach about a meter, so about 30 feet. They're often found also in conjunction with siphonophores, which would be like the floaty jellyfish, specifically the Portuguese man of war.
Which, in the picture I pulled up, you can see them, that top kind of blue bulbous looking thing, that is a Portuguese man o' war.
Yes, and they eat the tentacles and gonads of these siphonophores.
Rude.
Although other members are found along seaweed lakes like Asm. That brings us to our next group, which would be the Tetragonuridae. I don't like that.
I don't like it either. So the Tetragonuridae, these are found in the tropics and subtropics. They also feed on jellyfish and ctenophores. There are only 3 species in one genus, and they are known as the square tails.
Imagine whenever that tail is fanned out completely, it's really boxed.
Okay.
It's my guess.
I don't know. Not really. I don't know. Maybe just because they're kind of very blocky in shape. I don't know.
Potentially. That'll bring us.
There's a reason that we're doing this and not spending time actually naming these animals.
Correct. That'll bring us to our next group. My tablet decided to time out as I was ready to talk about it. Areomatidae. These guys are deep water marine fish found worldwide. They are important commercial food fish. Yup. And there is one genus with several species. I don't know what the common name is, though. I was dumb and didn't put that down. What are we talking about here? Areomatidae.
Yeah.
Oh, because they don't have anything in terms of like a common group name. Why do you like this?
That's an excellent question. Well, I'm going to move us on then to our next family. This one does have a common name. They're a family of Stromatidae, is known as the butterfish. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Probably based off their meat, I'd assume.
Probably kind of yellow. Probably a yellow.
I was going to say buttery in texture.
Buttery texture, taste. Yeah. There are 3 genera that contain 15 species. They are also contain common popular fish like the false pomfrets and pompanos. I believe these are good food fish.
They are.
That will take us now to a new suborder.
Scombroidae.
Scombroidae, yes.
We'll start with the family Pomatomidae. This is a monospecific family known as the bluefish.
I caught one of these one time.
Florida?
Down in Florida. Problem was the barracuda that also caught the back half of it, I think.
Probably. It is a marine pelagic fish. They go in excess of 7 inches and 20 pounds. Typically, rarely topping the scales at a whopping 40 pounds. Just rather massive for a fish.
Pretty good size.
And they have a single row of knife-edged teeth on each jaw and possess a broad forked tail. Brings us to our next group, Icostyidae, which we have as the ragfish.
The ragfish. They're classified as bony fish, but they are mostly cartilaginous. They're kind of scaleless and limp.
It is.
Spineless
you
fins.
Can see how limp it looks.
They're kind of just. You can see why it's called a rag because they're just kind of there.
They just flop around.
But they do get decently large with a maximum length of about 2 meters. Typically
6 feet.
Yeah, typically bottom dwelling, and they're said to eat like jellyfish, octopi, and squid. So I'm guessing waters they're native to.
When they depressurize.
And they depressurize and expand, and they just become the hideous blob that we know them as.
That we love them as.
Yes, know and love.
All right, next group is going to be Euripidae. These guys are known as the Australian salmon, although we're in the
salmon.
Yeah, they're not salmon. They're mackerel-ish. They're long-lived fish when we don't catch them and eat them. Favored by recreational fishers, as well as tribal and commercial fisheries. They are often a targeted fish of the Maori when they go fishing. They're oftentimes bycatch of other popular...
Keep talking. We'll talk about this in a minute.
Of other popular food fish like trevally and things like that. They have a streamlined body with a powerful forked tail, which is evidence of that fast-paced life. They have large eyes and scales, and there's 4 members in the sole genus Euripus. And Alex was kind of
I'm gonna get yes.
Taken aback by the next group here.
Yeah, so our next family is Chiasmondontidae. These are also known as the snake tooth fish or swallowers. Let me give you the full effect of this
They're nasty. They're nasty.
monstrosity.
It's not even the worst of it.
No. So they are a deep sea predatory fish, as you probably guessed by the fact that they are jet black with a massive mouth and teeth. And they are able to engulf prey larger than themselves because they have distensible stomachs, which means they eat whatever, like gulp whatever it is that they
It just sits
can,
there.
and their stomach is just, woof,
Yeah.
and they just hold it there and digest it over time.
Yeah, you got a picture of that?
I can sure find a at least a
There's a drawing right there.
Yeah, the drawing will probably at least be a little nicer. I'm not gonna terrify them too much. There you go, kind of give you an idea. There's some pictures I could show you, but they're definitely not pleasant. We don't want you throwing up.
And that'll bring us to our next
Yes,
group.
let's get off of the
Scombridae, which is the type species for this whole suborder. There's about 51 species and 15 genera, including mackerel, tuna, and bonito. There's 2 dorsal fins and a series of finlets behind the rear dorsal and anal fins.
Those look like yellow tuna?
Yellow fins, yeah.
Yellowfin tuna? Very tasty.
They have a very strongly divided caudal fin, as you can tell by this image. That tail fin is very forked, almost T-shaped.
Yes.
They range anywhere from 8 inches in the island mackerel to a massive nearly 16 feet in the bluefin tuna, specifically the Atlantic bluefin.
Yes.
Generally found in the open waters, and they have adapted to that life at a high speed due to that highly streamlined body and retractable fins.
Yes, so those the dorsal fin and that kind of like anal fin can kind of fold in, and they're just like a torpedo.
Yes.
You just zoom.
They're partly endothermic, which means warm-blooded. I'd assume that's based off the amount of blood that circulates through from their heart.
Being large, being very large, fast-moving fish. A lot of muscle. At that point, just the amount of heat generated by burning that many calories.
Yeah, and that endothermy kind of helps them with their high activity levels because they don't have to rely on the exterior temperature nearly as much to stay active. They can produce enough heat on their own to aid in staying active, and they have a large amount of red muscle, which helps with prolonged activity.
Yes.
We'll move to our next group, which is Charistidae.
Why are so many of these fish just gross? Here, there we go. There's like a living fish picture. A lot of these I think are deep sea fish that have been pulled out. They look horrific. So the family Charistidae, these are known as the mane fish, Mane, is in like a lion's mane. There's 19 species and 4 genera. They are a deep sea marine fish that feed on siphonophores, with the adults reaching no more than 25 centimeters in length. They are nearly entirely black, which helps with their camouflage, but it looks like they do have some photophores, or it's just the flash of the camera.
I'd go with that one.
In the deep sea ocean. But you can see they're called mane fish because that dorsal fin looks like a big old, like kind of lion's mane. Very, very fancy. That is the best picture I was able to find because the rest of them were fish that had been caught and pulled out of the water.
They look gross.
They were gross.
Yeah.
Very gross.
We'll move on to the next group before we throw up. Move into Bramidae. These are the true pomfrets. We kind of talked a little bit earlier about like some false pomfrets. These ones are the real ones. There's about 20 species across 7 genera. They're a very important food fish for much of the world. And they're found globally.
There you go.
Yeah, cool, because I'm finished with them now.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm trying. Keeping up. Barely. Our next group is the family Gempilidae.
Yes.
These are known as the snake mackerel.
You know, that does a lot more justice in the picture that I had than the drawing that I saw earlier.
Yes. So they are a very elongated fish, similar to the barracuda as far as the kind of body plan shape is concerned. They have a very long dorsal fin with finlets that follow right behind it. So you can kind of see in the picture, it's not very tall, but that little spiky looking thing is the dorsal fin, and then it kind of has a second dorsal fin that's a little longer. That may also just be because that fish has probably been caught and preserved, and it's starting. Usually, the fins tend to break down.
Yep.
Over time. The largest species is known to grow nearly 10 feet long, and of course, like being similar to barracudas, uh, they are predators and snake mackerels. They have very fang-like teeth, which is what gives them their name.
And that'll bring us to our next group.
It's the last family within this order.
Subseries.
Yeah.
No, these are the Trichuridae, which are cutlass fish.
That is not a fish.
Yeah, what did you find?
Fish. There we go.
Yes, the cutlass fish. 45 species in this family. They are long and slender, and either a steel blue or silver, which is where they get that name, cutlass fish, kind of like a cutlass sword. And they have a reduced or absent pelvic and caudal fin. Alex really didn't pull up a good picture for that demonstration.
Let me try.
But
I got a drawing.
It'll work.
There you go.
That you can see that the caudal fin kind of tapers off and almost non-existent, as well as like a pelvic fin. And they have fang-like teeth as well. A lot of these like longer, slender ones have more fang-like teeth.
Yes.
Because they typically eat other fish and they just kind of snatch them. That'll bring us into our next sub-series, Anabantaria. What are we getting here?
We are starting with the subseries Anabantaria says, so we start in the order Synbranchiforms, suborder Masticembelloideae, into the family Masticembellidae.
There you go.
Ooh, that's a lot of words. These are the freshwater spiny eels.
That's funky.
They're goofy looking. These fish originate from Africa and southern and eastern Asia, generally inhabiting soft bottom habitats in fresh and sometimes brackish water. They burrow in the substrate during the day, and even some of the species do. My apologies. And they can burrow there and stay there for months, because if the soil and like their environment in those freshwater environments, if it dries up too much, in those dry periods, they can burrow in and survive there for a very long time. As you could guess, they have an eel-like body. That's why they're called the freshwater spiny eels. The largest species reaches a maximum length of about a meter or just over 3 feet long. Very characteristic of this group is the long nose, kind of nose-like appendage with the tubulated nostrils, which I think it means they kind of have very round, long, round nostrils that kind of help them, I'm going to guess, get the, I wouldn't want to say smell, but smell, quote unquote, for prey. And the reason they are called the spiny eels is because they have the very well separated dorsal spines on their back, where their kind of dorsal fin sort of is.
That'll bring us to our next group, which is going to be Chaudhuridae, which are the earthwork eels. What is that, earthworm?
I think it's supposed to be
earthworm eels. They're pretty much the shape and size of an earthworm.
They look like worms.
Yes. The oldest reported species was found in the Inner Lake in 1918, although everything else within this family has been found since the 1970s. All in Eastern Asia, from India to Korea. All the specimens we've found so far, none of them are longer than 3 inches.
Just a little guy.
Yeah, they're just little guys, and one species is known only to grow to about an inch long. They have small eyes covered in thick skin, and there's not much known about other biology since we only have a few systems. A few specimens to go off of.
Yes. And that will take us into our next suborder is the suborder Endostomoideae. It only has one family, the family Endostomidae. These are the armored sticklebacks. So in this suborder that only has one family, there's also only one genus within that family that has three species. I had a picture. There we go. Um,
Look at him.
they are native to slow-moving or stagnant freshwater within the Indochina area of Southeast Asia. Very small, as you can kind of guess from the picture that they're zoomed in into grains of sand. On average, are only reaching about a max of 3 centimeters in length.
It's about an inch.
They have very thin, tapered bodies that taper back towards the tail, ending in that kind of fan-shaped tail on the end. But they do have some armor uh, over their body, so they, even for being small, they are a little stout, but not too much so, just because of their sheer size. But that will take us into our last family within this order. Yeah,
Yes.
but not
Not the
the
series.
series. It's a pretty good sized series.
So next we have the Synbranchoidae, which are known as the swamp eels. We are in family Synbranchidae. They are freshwater eel-like fish living in the tropics and subtropics. Most species are able to breathe air and typically live in marshes, ponds. Get that away from me. And damp places, sometimes burying themselves in the mud if the water dries up, which is common among these like eel-like freshwater fish, especially in areas that have only a wet and dry season. They lack scales and a swim bladder. Their gills are open on the throat in a slit or pore, although oxygen can also be absorbed through the lining of the mouth and pharynx, which is rich in blood vessels and acts as a pseudo lung. Next order.
That is the order Anabantiforms, going into the suborder Anabantoideae. These guys are very unique because they possess an organ that is kind of only unique to this order. It is called the labyrinth organ. It is very lung-like. It allows them to breathe air. So there are a couple families within this order, or I should say a handful of families within this order. The first being the family Anabantidae. These are the climbing gourami, or the climbing perch, which is sort of a misnomer because even though there have been records, quote unquote, there are some authors, I should say, when writing about them, have said they could climb trees. They really don't. Um, so they are named because they can climb out of the water and walk, a lot of air quotes, short distances using their pectoral fins to kind of scoot along the ground because they can breathe air using that labyrinth organ. Um, but has not been, and like I said, that tree climbing ability really hasn't been reliably observed. So I'm going to guess if it is, it's because it was probably like a root that was in line with uh, the bank of whatever body of water they were coming out of. Um, and to move along the ground, they use their gill plates as support, and then it uses its fins and tails to kind of push it along. But there are 34 species and 4 genera within this family.
That'll bring us to our next family, Helostomatidae. These are the kissing gourami, a very popular pet, I believe, in the aquarium trade.
Yes.
They're a monotypic family originating from mainland Southeast Asia as well as the Greater Sundas and other islands nearby, but have also been introduced outside of their range, probably due to the pet trade. Were to guess. Obviously, the most distinctive feature of these guys is their mouth, because not only is it terminal, which means forward facing, versus the typical superior mouth of other perches. They have a protrusible mouth with lips lined with very horny teeth, and they reach a maximum length of about a foot. So our next group, Alex.
Yes. Our next and last group within this suborder is the Osphronemidae. These picture up here.
These guys are cool.
They are pretty neat.
That was your choice?
As opposed to what?
A beta fish?
I didn't think betas were in this group.
Yeah, they are Siamese fighting fish.
Here, I'll make Tyler happy. Are you happy now?
Yes, very.
The family Osphronemidae. These are fish that are native to Asia from India throughout Southeast Asia and then northeast to Korea. All the living species within this family show some sort of parental care until their fry become free swimming. Some are mouth brooders, like the crabby mouth brooding beta.
Huh.
And others, like the Siamese fighting fish, build little bubble nests. So they kind of blow bubbles into kind of encasing nests around the eggs and use that to protect them. And they also tend to be kind of territorial and aggressive. Not why they're called the fighting fish.
Yeah.
There are about 133 species that are recognized, which are then placed into 4 subfamilies with about 15 genera. So this is a pretty big group of the gouramis, quote unquote. That will take us into our next suborder, one I think I've talked about before in our most wanted.
I actually don't think you have.
No, I control F this bad boy.
Anyway, we're talking about snakeheads. Suborder Chinoidae. And this is 2 families in the suborder. The first one was going to be Shanidae, which is the true snakeheads. They irritate me. I hate them. Least favorite fish. They're native to parts of Africa and Asia. They are elongated predatory fish with long dorsal fins, large mouths, and shiny teeth.
Sorry, I'm slacking. Hold on.
Yes. You can keep it away from me. I wouldn't. And there's a snakehead. Disgusting.
There you go.
Of course, my tablet shut off on me again. They breathe the air with gills, which allows them to migrate short distances over land. They have suprabranchial organs, which are primitive forms of labyrinth organs. So they don't have the true labyrinth organs, but a primitive form of it when they grow older. And the 2 extant genera are Shana and Parashana. Shana being from Asia and Parashana from Africa. And there's more than 50 species divided between these 2 genera. I hate snakeheads.
They are not.
They're invasive.
They're
If you couldn't tell by
very
Alex
invasive.
trying to find them in his most wanted.
Yes. But that'll take us to our next family, which is the family Enigmachanidae, which are the dragon snakeheads. These guys actually look kind of cool. I'm gonna lie. Look at that.
I'll give you that one.
That's pretty snazzy. So there are 2 species, both of which are pretty much kept to the subterranean habitats of southwestern India, which are in the western Ghats foothills of the state of Kerala. So if you are from India or are familiar with Indian geography, you would know where that is. I don't. Won't lie. Both these species display unique traits that distinguish them from the regular snakeheads. They are much longer, more slender than the regular snakeheads. They have a lot of scales and a very long anal fin. And they also have a lack of ability to maintain buoyancy.
This will just sink.
Yeah, so they kind of just sink to the bottom. As you said, they're subterranean, but they still have like functioning eyes. So I forget. I think when I was looking at these guys, I think they were one of the ones where they're not sure if they're truly subterranean or have just very recently become subterranean, which is why they still have a lot of features that allow them would allow them to function within regular aquatic habitats above ground. I don't know.
That would be my guess because that's the eyes going is typically one of the first things in a.
Yeah, I mean they're already losing the pigmentation.
Yeah.
They're kind of just getting that color.
That brings us to our final suborder of this subseries. We are in Nandoidae. These guys are the Asian leaf fish, chameleon fish, and the mud perch, which will be our first family, Nandidae, monogeneric family with 7 species. They have a usual Their usual coloration uh, appears to be like a dead leaf, and they have very large protractile mouths. They also have developed peculiar movements, kind of like a leaf moving through the water, uh, which kind of helps them act with camouflage to catch larger prey compared to their body size, including other fish, aquatic insects, and some invertebrates. Our next group, Alex.
Our next group is the family Batidae. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There are two genera containing about 30 species. These are small freshwater fish found in kind of that southeastern Asian peninsula, as well as a little bit of mainland, southern and Southeast Asia, like China and India, down to Laos and Thailand, and then even all the way up to Pakistan and Nepal. The largest only reaches a standard length of about 7.5 centimeters or 3 inches, and the smallest is not doesn't even make it to 2 centimeters or about 3/4 of an inch. So they're quite small. I'm going to guess they're pretty popular in the aquarium trade just because
Darius?
they're brightly colored.
Yeesh.
And our last family is a tiny one, the family Pristolepididae, the words. There's one genus containing about 8 recognized species native to freshwater habitats in Southeast Asia and India's Western Ghats. I'll see if I can find a picture real quick before we move on. Maybe this wants to cooperate. Yeah, they're kind of not overly exciting fish. There you go. They're pretty kind of lame.
Very fish.
They're very fish. But that will take us into a hefty group.
We're about halfway.
We're about halfway.
Our next subseries is going to be Carangaria,
Yes.
which will be the first order Carangiforms, and the suborder Centropomoidae has 4 families within it. And let's get into those. Our first family is going to be Latidae, and these are going to be the giant perch or the Lates perch. There are about 13 species in the family, which was it's a recent family, only being raised to that level as of 2004. They have dorsal fins that are incompletely separated, so they're like separate, but they still come together at the base, I believe. And there are important food fish, oftentimes introduced outside of their range, most notably the Nile perch.
I believe that is one I have talked about before.
Yeah, I believe so too. Voracious predators, which have destroyed Lake Victoria.
Yes.
Our next family, Alex.
Is the family Centropomidae, which are the snooks. It's a great name. So this I believe just has one genus.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a monogeneric
Monogeneric.
family of the genus Centropomus, predominantly marine fish. The common snook being kind of the representative of this family and genus, native to the tropical and subtropical waters of the Western Atlantic and Eastern Pacific Oceans.
Popular game fish.
Yes, popular game fish. There were, I think, the family we just talked about. It was previously a subfamily that had then been raised to the family level. So now that is why there's only one genus remaining within this family.
There's a species named the fat snook.
That's great.
Sounds like the best insult you could give
That
somebody.
is a great. But yes, they're very popular game fish, sought after a lot by fly fishing enthusiasts and charter fisheries. They are found from coral reefs to estuaries, mangrove swamps, feeding a lot on crustaceans and other smaller fish, ranging in size from 35 to 120 centimeters, um, which is about 14 to 47 inches in length, with the biggest getting up to 140 centimeters, about 4'7" and
Jeez.
weighing up to 26 kilograms or 57 pounds. So they can get very large.
That'll bring us to our next group,
Yeah.
which would be the genus or the family Lacteridae,
Yes.
which is once again a monogeneric group for Lactarius, the Falstravali. They are native to the Indian Ocean from East Africa to Southeast Asia and the Western Pacific from Japan to Queensland. Coastal species, and they grow. I read that wrong. They live at depths of 15 to 100 meters, 49 to 330 feet. And it's a very important fish to the local fisheries. But they can grow up to 16 inches, although most don't exceed a foot. And that'll bring us to our last family of this
Yes. This one is
suborder.
great. The last family is the family Spiranidae, which contains the Barracuda. I believe another mono. Yeah, all four of these are monogeneric. Oh, no, the first one had two genus.
Did it?
I don't know. I forget. Too much going on. But this is
It did.
the family Spiranidae, containing the genus Spirana, which is the only genus. The Barracuda is what these fish are. There's a large predatory saltwater fish found quite often around the reefs throughout the world, in the tropical and subtropical oceans, primarily in the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Red Sea, mostly in the what the with the western border being the Caribbean Sea. So pretty common throughout the tropics of the Atlantic, and then within the Pacific Ocean, I'm going to guess you find them quite often around the many islands that are throughout the Pacific. As I said, kind of hanging out near the top of the water, around coral reefs and seagrasses. They're very common sport fish because they are very fast, uh, very.
They hit hard.
Yes, and you can see they kind of have that snake-like appearance with the very prominent, sharp, fang-like teeth within very large jaws. Similar to have we talked about the pike yet?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
A long time ago.
That's what I thought. That's why I'm
with seminiforms.
Yeah. Yes. They typically they can have two dorsal fins that are very widely separated. They have a very prominent lateral line that you can see in the picture that I've pulled up. That kind of silver line where the lighter bottom part and the kind of darker blue upper part blend in. That is on purpose because they're I believe when they can fight each other. And I'm having a moment. Sorry. Sheesh.
Reading is hard.
Reading is hard. Typically, when you see fish colored like that, especially like the barracuda that chill towards the top of the water, that blue makes it harder for like any
think of
like
great
birds
white sharks
or like bird. It kind of helps them blend in. So anything looking down from like the sky or above them, they kind of they blend in with that blue, and then looking up from the bottom, the silver helps them blend in with the glare from the sunlight. They're very strong swimmers. They can get quite large, with some of them growing all the way up to 65 inches or 165 centimeters in length. That is over 5 feet long.
That's the great barracuda.
I have seen, the great barracuda. I have seen there are full sentences, Alex. Goodness. We've already been going for an hour and a half, so that's why I'm starting to blend together very rapidly. When I was back in high school, I went down to the reefs of Florida off of the Keys, and I got to snorkel and see a couple barracuda. They're quite impressive. They do get quite big, but they leave people alone for the most part. I think if you mess with them, they'll mess with you. But you leave them alone, they leave you alone. There are 29 species within the genus. They all look. Some are quite small. Um, and the others, like the great barracuda, which is the picture I have pulled up, get are the largest of this genus.
All
Yeah,
right.
they're saying they're quite fast. They can get up to 27 miles an hour or 43 kilometers per hour when they are trying to catch prey. So quite fast, eating other fish. Okay, goodness.
That brings us to our next group.
Yeah.
New suborder here.
Yes.
Pleonectoridae. These are the flatfish and the threadfish, which I'm kind of confused on why everything that's in this subseries is in this subseries together.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out eventually. So this is the family of Polynemonidae, known as the threadfins, probably based off of the wispy
Little beard goatee
rays
looking
they
thing they
have.
got going on.
These guys are found in the tropical and subtropics throughout the world. We have 8 genera with about 40 species, and they range in size from 4.5 inches in the dwarf threadfin to about 6 feet in the four-finger threadfin. And the giant African threadfin is also around that large. They are important to the commercial fisheries as a food fish and popular among anglers due to their ability to form large schools. That's really all I have.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on, our next family is the family Cetodidae. These are the spiny turbot. Um,
Ew.
they are kind of a large, primitive flatfish that are found in the tropical waters of the eastern Atlantic and Indo-Pacific. Just 3 species, all in one genus, Cetodes. The common name comes from the spines that are on the dorsal and anal fins. You can kind of see in the drawing I pulled up those
They're gross.
the rays of their fins are kind of spiky, very very stiff. They are not as asymmetrical as some of the other flatfish, um, but it does kind of have the twisted looking eyes where they're more on one side. But they do get relatively large, reaching lengths all the way up to 80 centimeters or about 31 inches. That is all I have for these. As I said, the three species. The spot tail spiny turbot, just the spiny turbot, which I believe is the not the one I pulled up. The one I pulled up is called the Indian halibut.
Yes. That'll bring us to our next grouping, which is going to be Cepheridae, or the large scale flounders, a smallish family with 4 genera.
Let's see if I can find a better picture for these guys.
Uh, there's about 7 species across these 4 genera. They range between 14 to 36 centimeters. That's about 5 inches to 14 inches. And there are 2 subfamilies, uh, Brachypleuridae and Cepheridae. There's the yellow dabbled flounder, the scale-eyed flounder, the branched-rayed flounder, the 2-spot large-scale flounder, and the spotted flounder. Don't ask me what Alex pulled up because I don't.
One, it doesn't say a species.
A large-scale flounder.
Yes.
That'll bring us to our next group.
Our next family is the family Scophthalidae. These are just a family of flatfish known as the turbots, also called window panes or brills, because as you can kind of see, they have a very good camouflage because they stay on the bottoms of the areas that they inhabit, blending in with the seafloor. So
Where do you get a window pane out of that?
I could be probably because they're very large and flat. That's my guess. They are a monophyletic group. The largest species, which is the one I've pulled up here, reaches approximately a meter in length. They are historically fished commercially, which is primarily the species, the brill and the turbot flatfish. They are composed of 4 genera of only about 8 species. They are found, I forget if I said if they are found primarily within the North Atlantic, Baltic Sea, Mediterranean, and Black Sea. Yeah.
So that'll bring us to our next grouping. Cyclopsidae. These are a family of flatfish native to the coastlines of the Americas, with a few found off the western coast of Africa. These guys are... Where's their common name? I read it earlier, and now I lost it. Oh, boy.
The common name for these, the sandwifts or large-toothed flounders.
Yep, them. There's 4 genera, Cytherichthys, Cyclopsida, Etropus, and Cyacium. And several of those species are important commercial and game fish. such as the Pacific sand dab. That's all I have.
All right, I'll take us to our next family, which is the family Bothidae, who are the left eye flounders. Called that because they lay on their right sides on the sea bottom, both their eyes being on the left side of their body. Um, they're distinguished by, also distinguished, I should say, by presence of spines around the snout and near the eyes. Is kind of hard to see in this image. I think that ventral fin, you can kind of see the spines as they get up close to the front of the head. There are about 160 species placed into a bunch of genera.
Why are there so many?
They range from about 4.5 centimeters or an inch, just about an inch and 3/4 in length, all the way up to 1.5 meters or almost 5 feet in length. So they get pretty decently large. Bringing us to our next family,
which is the Percomorphs. These are the sand flounders, or the large tooth flounders. There's 14 genera with about 110 species. They lay on the seabed on their right side as well. They are found in tropical and temperate waters of the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. And several are important commercial and game fish, most notably the California halibut.
which is not what I have pulled up. I have the summer flounder pulled up.
Uh,
But they look very similar.
and
It
then,
takes us to our next family, Pleuronectidae. These are the right eye flounders, which I'm going to let you figure out. They lay on their left side with their eyes on the right side of their body.
who would have thunk?
So they do have although they do have a small number that have their eyes on the left side, but primarily they are on the right side. They have those long, continuous dorsal and anal fins extending all the way up to the head. They are found in the bottom of the oceans around the world, with some species like the Atlantic halibut being found all the way down to 2,000 meters or 6,600 feet, preying on seafloor invertebrates like polychaetes and crustaceans. Some of the larger ones feed on other fish and cephalopods. One species, the Atlantic halibut, being, I believe, one of the biggest species in this family, grows up to 4.7 meters or 15 feet in length, which makes them very important commercially fished species. When you think of flounders, these are probably what the most common ones that you think of. They do have 5 subfamilies containing quite a number of different genera, and I think about 40 species, just over 40 species total.
I'm going to our next group, which is a monospecific family, the peppered flounder. They live on the sandy and muddy bottoms in subtropical waters, down to about 330 feet, natively to the southeastern Atlantic and the western Indian, mostly the African coastline from South Africa to Mozambique. And they only grow about 20 inches in length. Is that it? Is that your peppered flounder?
Yes.
Awesome. That's all I have. So,
all right. Taking us to our next family. This is the family Oncoteridae. There we go.
Once again, monospecific.
And another monotypic family. The Remo flounder is the species found within this family. It is a demersal fish living on the bottoms of the primarily southwestern Atlantic, along the southeastern coast of South America, from Brazil all the way down to Argentina. They can grow about 30 centimeters or 12 inches in length. It is a right-eyed flounder, but it is separate from that family. It kind of has, as you can see, it's that brown color with the white spots on it. They do have a very distinct semicircular curve above the pectoral fin that is the lateral line. That's all for this family.
So our next group is going to be Rhombosaulidae. These are another family of flatfish with 9 genera and 19 species. They're all right-eye flounders, and they have an asymmetrical pelvic fin. They're typically demersal, living on the bottoms of temperate waters on the continental shelf. Although some are able to enter freshwater in New Zealand, they're mostly found throughout Australia and New Zealand. Although the Indonesian ocelot flounder uh, is found in Indonesia. And I'll just pull up a picture of the New Zealand brill. That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Our next family is the family Achiropsetidae. These are the southern flounders or armless flounders. I don't have a picture for these guys. It's a small family containing four genera, each only having a single species. They are found in the Antarctic and subantarctic waters. They, like many of the flounders, are greatly compressed with both eyes on the left side of their head. They have rudimentary pectoral fins, which is kind of I think what gives them the name the armless flounders. I do have a drawing of them. You can kind of see that pectoral fin is very very small. They do have a well developed and straight lateral line, which is a little different from some of the flounders, varying in size from 11 centimeters or 4.3 inches all the way up to 57 centimeters or 22 inches in length. But little is known about the actual habitats of these species. I think just because they are in those very cold waters that are a little more difficult to study. Takes us to our next family.
Which is going to be Echiridae. These guys are a group of flatfish found in the freshwater and marine environments of the Americas. They include 35 species within 7 genera. They're closely related to the souls of Solidae, uh, but they have their own distinct characteristics. Most notably, they have a fleshy rim on the eye side of their lower lip, and they have small or non-existent pectoral fins. And the only one to exceed a foot in length would be Echirus echirus.
They're commonly known as the American sole. Our next family is the family Samaridae. These are the crested flounders. The kind of the drawing that I pulled up, you can kind of see why they're called that. They are a small family. They're a family of small flatfish native to the Indo-Pacific with four genera and a total of 29 species. When they're young, they actually do exhibit some bilateral symmetry until they become adults. So when one eye shifts to the lower, shifts lower on the upper side of the body, and the other eye shifts kind of upwards. Um, they reach and they kind of have that symmetry until they reach about 120 millimeters in length, or if not a little smaller. They do actually have some symmetrical pectoral or pelvic fins. Sorry, not pectoral fins. That they live primarily in the marine areas of the Indo-Pacific Ocean, and all the way from South Africa to Hawaii, in those tropical and subtropical areas and deep benthic zones found around coral reefs up to about 150 meters in depth.
That brings us to our next group, Poecilopsidae. These guys are another family of flatfish with 3 genera and 21 species, living on the bottom of the seafloor between 60 and 500 meters in the Indo-Pacific and northwestern Atlantic. The deepest they've been found is over 5,000 feet, which is the deep water dab, and they range from 3.5 to 7.5 inches in length, although most are around 6 inches long.
The next family is one that Tyler referenced earlier. It is Solidae. These are the soles, Sole. Um, they are found in saltwater and brackish water in the Eastern Atlantic, Indian, and Western and Central Pacific and Mediterranean seas. So pretty common throughout. I would guess the Western Europe and Africa, and then through Southern Asia. And that's where there are freshwater species found in Africa, Southern Asia, New Guinea, and Australia. They're typically a important food species, especially the common sole in Northern Europe and the Mediterranean. They were once included in the family with the American sole, but then were separated into their own. There are a number of genera that fall under this family. Next family is Cynoglossidae.
This is the last group from this suborder. These guys are the tongue fish. Uh, they're distinguished by the presence of a long hook on the snout overhanging the mouth and the absence of pectoral fins. Both eyes are on the left side of their body, and they also lack a pelvic fin. There are 3 genera with over 140 species. The largest reach up to 26 inches, although most reach about half that size. They are found in the tropics and subtropics, mainly in the shallow waters and the estuaries, although some are found deeper on the seafloor, and even some in freshwater river ecosystems.
Yes, sir. And that takes us now, excuse me, to a new suborder, the suborder Toxotoideae, uh, containing two families. The first family, Leptobromidae. These are called the beach salmons. There's only one genus with two recognized species: the spotfin beach salmon and the longfin beach salmon. The spotfin is the drawing that I have pulled up here, found primarily in the Pacific Ocean. The next family is the family Toxotidae. These are the archer fish.
Yes, oysterfish are a monotypic family known for their unique predation strategies. These guys are really cool. They kind of suck in water through their mouth, go to the water surface, and spit it at unsuspecting bugs in a quick stream that shoots these bugs down into the water for them to eat. They live in freshwater streams, ponds, and wetlands. Although some are euryhaline and they are able to inhabit brackish water like estuaries and mangroves. And they can be found from India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka throughout Southeast Asia to northern Australia. They have laterally compressed bodies, and there's a straight line going from the dorsal fin to the mouth, and that's really all I have for these guys. There's a couple species. There's 9 species in one genera.
Next, and that takes us to another new suborder, Nemastioideae, which has just one family of Nemastidae, and these are the rooster fish. They're kind of cool.
It's bananas.
They are, I believe there's only one species within this family and genus.
The roosterfish.
That is the roosterfish. Um, they are found in the warmer, shallow waters of the southeastern Pacific, from Baja California to Peru. Very popular sport fish because they are strong fighters. They are named from that the big dorsal fin that kind of is like, if you ever seen a rooster, that kind of the crest they have along the top of their head. And that is what they are named for. They can get relatively large, about 1.6 meters or just over 5 feet in length, weighing over 50 kilos or about 110 pounds. But they are not very well studied for being such popular sport fish.
Anything else?
Nope. That's all I got for these guys.
All right, this will bring us to our next suborder. There's 3 families. These are the moonfish and the billfish. Our first group is going to be Menidae. These are the moonfish. They're disc-shaped fish. That's grotesque. Which are
Kind
a
of funky looking.
vague resemblance to the gourami, which we talked about slightly earlier in the show, because of their thread-like pelvic fins. Today we only have the Mene maculata, which is a popular food fish, especially in the Philippines.
Yes.
There were about several species prior to, but they're all extinct by now.
Now take us to our next family, Ziphidae. These are the swordfish. So they are just one species within this family, and a single genus, Ziphius. They're also known as the broadbill in some countries. They are a large migratory predator, characterized by that very long, flat, pointed bill on the front of the snout. Popular sport fish, they have very long, rounded bodies. And by the time they become adults, they lose their teeth and scales. They are found throughout the tropical and temperate waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, found from the surface all the way down to about 550 meters or 1,800 feet. But there are some that have been found all the way down to over 2,000 meters. Typically reach about 3 meters or 10 feet in length, but the biggest ever reported was over 4.5 meters or just under 15 feet in length. And they are quite heavy, about 650 kilos or about 1,400 pounds in weight. And These guys, being larger fish, they're actually ectothermic, meaning that they are, which is kind of surprising because that means they're cold blooded, but they do have special organs near their eyes called heater cells that allow them to kind of keep their eyes and their brains warmer. That way, that since they keep that temperature of the head and eyes at a higher temperature than the water around them, they have very good vision. That's all I have for those guys. I'll take us to our next family.
Yes, this is the family Istiophoridae, and these are the marlins and all the other billfish. There's about nine, labeled 9 to 11, depending on how you divide it taxonomically. But for the sake of this, there is 11 species. They have elongated bodies, a spear-like snout, and a long, rigid dorsal fin, which typically forms a crest. They are the apex predator and among the fastest marine swimmers. However, their greatly exaggerated speeds are often claimed in pop culture. So they're not actually as fast as people claim they are, but they are still very, very fast. The largest species include the Atlantic blue marlin, which reaches about 16 feet and almost a ton, and the black marlin, which is also 16 feet and about 1.5 thousand pounds. They are a popular sporting fish in the tropics, uh, and due to overfishing, the blue marlin and the white marlin are endangered. And this also includes the sailfish and the spearfish within this family.
And one thing that is kind of cool about them is they do change their color when so those stripes that you can kind of see on the sides of the body will light up just before they attack their prey. I'm guessing kind of a way to dazzle them a little bit.
Flashbang!
5 genera within this, and we said 11 species.
That brings us to our next suborder, our final suborder for this subseries.
Yes, this is the suborder Carangoideae, which has 4 families. The first family is the family Carangidae. These are the jacks or the jack mackerel. They are it is the largest of the families within the Carangiforms. It includes the jacks, pompanos, jack mackerels, runners, trevallies, and scads. They are found in the 3 major oceans, Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific. They're typically fast swimming predators that hunt above reefs or in the open sea, but there are some that dig along the seafloor to eat invertebrates. The largest is the great amberjack, grows up to 2 meters in length, but most of the fish within the family are only about 25 to 100 centimeters. Many of the species are important commercial and game fish, such as the Pacific jack mackerel and the jack mackerels of the genus Tracharius. There are a number of genera within the family, divided into 4 or 5 subfamilies.
Anything else?
That's all I have for this family. If you want to take us to our next one.
Yeah, our next family is going to be Echinidae. These guys are suckerfish, shark suckers, or remoras. They can grow anywhere between a foot and almost 4 feet long. Their first dorsal fins are a modified oval, which is kind of evolved into a sucker that they are able to hold to larger fish, notably sharks, sometimes whales, I believe.
Yeah.
And that disc is made up of flexible but strong membranes that can be raised and lowered to generate the suction. And there are 3 genera within this family.
These guys are cool. I actually caught one time, and I have a picture somewhere of it actually suctioned to my stomach. So, like I said, it's a kind of a soft, almost oval-shaped plate, and those slats will raise and lower to generate that suction. So it's pretty neat how these guys kind of do their business.
I'll take us to our next group, Alex.
Yes, correctly. There we go. So these are the family Rachycentridae. There's only one genus with one living species that is known as the cobia. The not a ton on these guys. Let's see if I can find a little more for you. There we go. Found a little more. I just had to get into the notes a little better. They are where are they found? Kind of throughout the Atlantic and the warm temperate and tropical waters, as well as the Indian and the Pacific coast of Japan, all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea. Are They grow about 2 meters in length and can weigh up to 79 kilos or just under 200 pounds. They do lack a swim bladder, which is pretty, um, which is not very common for a lot of the fish within this group. Most of them do have those swim bladders. They feed primarily on crab, squid, and other fish, as well as following large animals like sharks, turtles, and manta rays to feed to scavenge off of them. And it's something I think it is seen quite often because they are very curious and don't really fear boats, which is pretty cool.
They're also food fish, but like expensive food fish.
Yes, that will take us to our last family within this order.
Yes, which is one of my favorite fish, especially to eat.
Delicious.
We're talking Coryphana, which is the genus, the monogeneric Coryphanidae family. These are the dolphin fish, also known as mahi mahi. Um, they are an aggressive predatory fish that prey upon foraging fish of the open ocean, and they are also a popular food source for many larger predators. They reach about 88 pounds and are some of the fastest growing species in the ocean.
It only has about 2 species.
Yes, the pompano dolphin fish and the mahi mahi.
Or yes, but they are found pretty much worldwide. Um, they're called mahi mahi. That is due to the as a name from Hawaiian origin.
Yeah, so you don't call it a dolphin. That's
Yes.
what its typical name is a dolphin fish.
Yes.
And that's all for this group. I don't know about you, Alex, but I think it's time we take a little breather, get up and stretch the legs.
So, yeah, because that will take us into a new sub-series, and we still have a lot.
We have 2 sub-series to go, and then all our typical segments.
Yes. So I think at this point we will, take a quick break, stretch your legs, get a drink, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Especially once we get to Eupacaria, that's a doozy.
It'll be fun.
Yes. Oh man.
Here we go.
I do know. I popped the old lip pillow and it straight to the dome. So I was struggling there for a second. I'm like, oh, buddy.
Like it. All right, Alex, we're back from our break, and we're going to hop right into the next sub-series, which is going to be Ovalentaria.
Yeah, so this next chunk is going to be a heck of a run, especially the next sub-series we get into. So buckle up, folks.
This one's not going to be as bad. There's just a lot of...
No, this first one isn't too bad. But starting with the sub-series Ovalentaria, beginning with the order Therinoforms.
Yes.
Our first family
is Atheridae.
Yes. This is a monospecific. No. Never mind. No, it is not monospecific at all. Goodness.
It's monospecific. That's why there's 112 of them.
Listen. But these are the Atlantic or the neotropical silversides.
Yes.
It's the family Therapsidae. About 112 species and 13 genera distributed throughout the tropical and temperate waters of the New World.
In both marine and freshwater habitats.
Yes. This is where the grunions and this is where the Atlantic silverside belong to this family. The Atlantic silverside is a very one of the most abundant fish species in the estuary habitats along the Atlantic coast of North America.
Alrighty. Anything else to add?
No.
That'll bring us to our next group, the Old World silversides, from the family Atherinidae. They're abundant, bony fish, widespread globally, living in rivers, estuaries, and coastal waters. They occur worldwide. in the tropical and temperate waters. About 2/3 of the species are marine, while the last third is freshwater. So that's about 25 freshwater species and 50 marine species, and that's within 13 genera. And the most diverse of these genera would be Cratocephalus, with 25 species within itself, and 4 of those genera are monospecific. These guys are relatively small, being uh, less than 8 inches long in length, and most not even getting up to 2 inches. They have a generally elongated body, and some distinctive characters are the dual dorsal fins that have a widely separated. Uh, the first is pretty flexible spines, and the second one has a single spine with soft rays. And the anal fin has one spine on the leading edge, followed by soft rays. They have high pectoral fins, and there is no lateral line.
Betotidae, these are the Melagaceae rainbow fish, colorful. They're closely related to the family of Melanotanidae, the Australian rainbow fish, formerly together in a subfamily, but now its own distinct family. They are endemic to Madagascar, which has 2 genera containing 16 species. They are typically not very long, rarely exceeding 100 millimeters in length, varying degrees of sexual dimorphism within some of the species. As I said, they are endemic to Madagascar, found exclusively in freshwater environments, in small to medium sized forested rivers and streams, and sometimes in the swamps and marshes along the eastern slope of the island.
Bring us to our next group. Yeah, that sounds about right. Our next group would be the Australian rainbow fish, or just rainbow fish. They are freshwater fish found in north and eastern Australia, New Guinea, Sulawesi, and Madagascar. I'd assume that the Madagascar ones have been their own family for not very long. Let me see if I can get you anything else here. Characters. They have a compressed body with 2 dorsal fins separated by a small gap. We'll raise a couple spines in the first. Most are less than 5 inches long, with some less than 2.5. While the Melanotania van Hureni species reaches up to 8 inches, and they live in a wide range of freshwater habitats, including rivers, lakes, and swamps. Uh, Although they spawn year round, the peak breeding time is at the start of the rainy season.
Next family is the family Pseudomagulidae. These are the known as the blue eyes,
I
which
wonder
is a
why.
very good name because they have very bright blue eyes. Um, another former subfamily of Melanotanidae. They inhabit the fresh and brackish water of Australia, New Guinea, and the surrounding smaller islands. Typically small fish growing no more than 5 centimeters or 2 inches in length. Um, and like their relatives, they spawn all year round, and they attach their eggs to the vegetation that they live in. There are only 3 genera found within this family.
So we're going to our next group. Telmatheridae. These are the sailfin silversides. They inhabit fresh and brackish water. Um, all but one species are restricted to the island of Sulawesi, and most are found in a single lake system, the Malili Lake system. Um, and they were formerly treated as a subfamily of Melanotanidae as well. They are small fish, typically about an inch to 3 inches long, although the largest can reach about twice that size. And they are named for the sail-like shape of that first dorsal fin, which is brightly colored in the males and kind of dull in the females. So sexual dimorphism there.
Yes. Next is the family Notocheridae.
Monospecific.
Yes, they are a monospecific family. Surf silverside Notocherius hubsey, found along the Pacific coast of Argentina and Chile. It is a sister group to the neotropical silversides. They are characterized by not having a first dorsal fin. They're first described in 1937, but they are named to honor the American ichthyologist and authority on silversides, Carl Leavitt Hubbs. That's the Hubbsy specific name.
That'll bring us to our next grouping, Isonidae, which is the single genus Iso. They're known as surf sardines. They were formerly in the Notocheridae, along with the surf silverside, but now are their own suborder. There are 5 species: the Hawaiian surf sardine, surf sprite, Samoan surf sardine, and the flower of the wave are a few of their names.
Next family is the family Etherionidae, the prickle nose silversides. This is a small monogeneric family native to the Indo-Pacific Ocean, characterized by having very rough, shark skin-like denticles around the mouth and the head, typically quite small, growing to a maximum of 5.5 centimeters or just over 2 inches in length, with only 3 species within one genus.
Bring us to the next group, Dentatheridae. This is the Mercer's tusk silverside, so once again a monospecific family. They originate from the west central Pacific, found from the Philippines to northeastern Australia. It is found close to shore, around the islands and over coral reefs. There's little known about the species beside its larval biology. That's all I have.
All right. Our next family is Phallostethidae. These are the Priapium fishes. Pull these up. So they are native to the fresh and brackish water of Southeast Asia, being very small, no more than 3.5 centimeters or just under 1.5 inches in length, with partially translucent bodies. They are named for the muscular organ found under the chin of males. This organ possesses the small testicles that are used with the pelvic fins to grasp the female during mating.
Testicles on their chins?
Yes. They do and unlike most other fish, they exhibit internal fertilization rather than external, but they are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs. And there are 4 genera within this family.
And that'll bring us to our next order.
Yes.
We are into the Baloniforms now. There are 6 families in this group. First is going to be Scomberescosidae, which are the sauries. They are epipelagic fish living in tropical and temperate waters. They often jump while swimming near the surface, skimming the water, similar to flying fish, but they don't have the gliding membranes that the flying fish have. They have beak-like jaws, ranging from long, slender beaks to relatively short ones. Although their mouth openings are small and they have weak teeth in their jaws. And their most distinctive feature is the row of finlets behind the dorsal and anal fins, as you can see in the drawing that Alex has. They also lack swim bladders, and they grow to about 18 inches max.
Next family is the family Belonidae. These are the needlefish. They are piscivorous fish, meaning they eat other fish in very shallow marine habitats or near the surface of the open ocean. Some are found in just in marine, but others are found in brackish and freshwater environments. There are a couple genera that are just confined to freshwater rivers and streams. They have those long, narrow jaws with a lot of sharp teeth. Some of them are referred to as gars or garfish, but they are not gar. Like they're very distantly related to the true gar, growing only about they can grow from 3 to 95 centimeters or just over 37 inches in length. Single dorsal fin near towards the tail, and as you can kind of guess, the most distinctive feature is that long, narrow beak with all the sharp teeth within them.
And they've killed people.
Have they?
Yes.
Oh, yes, they are.
Not because they eat them,
no,
because they just jump out of the water at artificial light and pierce people because they have such.
Yes. It said night fishermen and divers across the Pacific have been attacked, quote unquote, by schools of the needlefish that are suddenly excited by the light source and they swim towards it at a very high speed. The sharp beaks kind of jab into the unsuspecting fishermen and break off inside the victim in the process, thus causing a lot of problem as far as that. Quite unfortunate. The most recent being in October of 2024 when an Italian surfer was accidentally impaled by one. Next family is the family Hemera. These are called the half beaks.
Yes.
A very common fish, and this is a popular bait fish in the
An open ocean fishing.
in open ocean fishing. Yeah, sorry, I had a moment. Called the ballyhoo, which is the one I have pulled up here. They're widespread epipelagic fish found in the warm waters throughout the world, named half beaks because they have that kind of jaw protrusion on the lower jaw. They are not commercially important, but as I said, they are fed upon by other commercial fish like mackerel and sharks. There are 8 genera that cover 60 species within this family.
That'll bring us to the next group, Xenoicopteridae. These are the viviparous half-beaks. They are strongly sexually dimorphic, and they have internal fertilization, and in some cases are ovoviviparous, which means that they lay eggs, but the eggs are kept inside the body until they hatch and the embryos are released upon hatching. They are found in fresh and brackish waters of tropical Asia and New Guinea, but they also include some marine species from the Indo-Pacific. Some are common trade aquarium fish, like the wrestling half-beak, and they have different behaviors depending on the species. Some are open water schooling fish, uh, and others are more aggressive solitary fish. That'll bring us to our next group.
Our next group is the family Exosotidae. These are the flying fish. While they don't fly, as you would think with like a bird, they jump out of the water and use those large pectoral fins to glide over the water surface, primarily a way to escape predators. There are 64 species within 7 genera in this family. As I said, quite common food fish for other larger fish like swordfish, mackerel, tuna, and birds like the frigate bird. Yeah, that's kind of all I have. As the drawing I pulled up suggests, they're kind of a bluish silver in color, living in all of the oceans, mostly in tropical and subtropical waters in the epipelagic zone, from the surface all the way down to about 200 meters.
That'll bring us to our next group.
Our last family in this order.
This is going to be Adrianictheidae, also known as the rice fish. They are found in fresh and brackish waters from India to Japan, as well as the Malaysian archipelago. They get that name rice fish because they're often found in the rice paddies of Asia. There's about 37 species in 2 genera. Some are rare and threatened, and some may already be extinct. So most are small, making them very popular in like household aquaria, typically reaching between 3 and 7 inches, depending on the exact species. While the largest of the second genus, so those would be of the genus Adrianicthus, while of the genus Orezius, the largest could reach about 3 inches total, so much smaller, and the smallest grow no bigger than a half-inch long. They have an unusual jaw structure, an additional tailbone.
That will take us now to a new order of fish, the order Cyprinodontiforms, starting with the family Plochellidae, which are the Asian rivulines. These fish, no, I don't want to save the image, I want to pull it up. These Asian rivulines, also known as the Asian killifish, found in Asia. They are grouped into 3 subfamilies. Sift through the notes here. We have the subfamilies was an old grouping. They've since been separated. There are 2 genera within this family, covering 20 species. Yeah, give or take. They're typically small fish that live in near kind of in and around aquatic vegetation.
Anything else?
That's all I got for this
That'll bring us to our
family.
next group. Nothobranchidae. These are the African killiefishes or African rivulines. There are about 300 species within this family. They're relatively small, about 2 inches long, limited to Africa, living in the freshwater, but can also tolerate some salt levels. They're found in muddy or brackish water, and some are even aquarium pets. They have frilly fins and are brightly colored, as you can see in the picture Alex pulled up. They were formerly in that group Aplochelidae, uh, which is now the Asian killifish, which Alex was just talking about. And depending on the genus, you can find them in a variety of different places. Sometimes at mud pools, uh, where they live in only about a year long and they die when the pool dries up. But the eggs live in diapause during the dry season, which would be an inactive state similar to hibernation. Some other ones live about 3 to 9 months when they're bred in captivity. And it grows so quickly that it needs a lot of food. And when there's not enough food, they kind of cannibalize, and the larger ones eat the smaller ones.
Yes.
That's all I have for those guys.
Our next family is a family Rebulidae. This is the last family of the rivulids or the killifish. These are known as the. No, I apologize. Not the last of the killifish, but of the this that former family that has been separated into three. My apologies. These are the New World killifish. It's kind of a misleading name in the other common name South American killifish because they are not restricted to South America. Um, Nor are they the only killifishes in the Americas. They are covered by a number of families with a lot of different species within them. Typically, very small fish. That is all I have for these guys without getting too buried into all the different genera.
That'll bring us to our next group, Pantanodontidae. These are the spine killifish. They are the most basal member of the suborder, being the sister to all other members. They have about 13 species in 4 genera. They have 2 freshwater and estuarine habitats of East Africa, including maybe formerly, not quite sure if they're out of that area yet, Madagascar. Uh, and there's several fossil members known to have inhabited Europe. A lot of these guys have very small, like habitat ranges, to the point where they could be extinct in those ranges due to habitat loss and things like that. And there are 3 living genera right now.
Our next family is the family Fundulidae. These are known as the top minnows or the North American killifish. As the name suggests, they are native to North America as far south as the Yucatan Peninsula and the islands of Bermuda and Cuba. There are 46 species found in both fresh and marine environments. Typically very small. The one species, the giant killifish and the northern studfish, can reach up to 20 centimeters or just under 8 inches in length, but typically most species are under 10 centimeters. They are distinguished by the maxillary bone, which is kind of the top bone of the mouth, which is actually twisted instead of being straight horizontally as it is in most fish. And while many species are not threatened, there are a couple that are listed as endangered just because of the environment they live in. Live in a lot of different ecosystems like coastal marshes, lagoons, rivers and streams, as well as clear water in the high elevations or muddy water in lower elevations. There are 3 genera that cover all of the species within this family. Our next family is Cyprinodontidae, yes, the pupfish.
Yes. These guys are a small group of killifish. There's about 10 genera in this family. They're found in extreme and isolated situations, primarily in North America, South America, and the Caribbean. As of 2006, there were 120 species and 9 subspecies within that. Several species are now extinct, and most of the living ones are on the IUCN Red List in some capacity. In the U.S., our most famous, well-known ones are the Devil's Hole pupfish, which is named for Devil's Hole of Death Valley National Park, where it has been close to extinction with about 35 fish left. And their name is derived from their mating habits, where the males act like puppies at play. And even though they're called cyprinodontids, they are not closely related to the Cyprinidae or the carp family.
Our next family is the family Profundulidae. They not well studied family of killifish that are native to Central America and Mexico, covering only 2 genera with just a handful of species in each genus. One genus is named Alok, I believe is how you pronounce that. Um, they are, which is named for the water god of the Aztecs.
Bring us to our next group, Gudaidae. These are the split fins. They are endemic to Mexico and some areas of the United States. There's about 50 species within 18 genera. They're named after George Brown Good. As I said, they are found throughout Mexico, particularly the Mesa Central, and they are about 8 inches long, although most are about 2 inches. They have internal fertilization, with males positioning themselves with a flexible point of their front anal fin separated by a notch, which makes up the anthropodium. That's all I have for these guys.
All right. Our next family is Fluvophylacidae. Sorry.
Yes.
These are the American lamp eyes. There's one genus with 5 species. A very tiny fish from the Amazon basin, and Amazon, Orinoco, and Oyapock basins of South America. Until recently, they were placed within the Posilidae family, but is now its own family. But they are considered a sister group of that original family.
Our next group is going to be Anablepidae. These are the 4 eyes. It also includes the one-sided live bearers and the white eye. They eat mostly insects and invertebrates. They live in the brackish and freshwater habitats of southern Mexico and South America. I'm assuming they get that name because they kind of live at the water's surface, and the eye is kind of capable of being above and below the water surface at one time. And that's all these guys have. Not much on them.
Next family is the family Posilidae. These are the live bearers, is the common name, also known as the tooth carps. They cover some very popular aquarium fish like the guppy, the molly, platy, and swordtail, originally from the southeastern United States to the north of Rio de la Plata in Argentina. However, they become a little bit more widespread due to release of aquarium specimen, especially for mosquito control. But they can be found in all tropical and subtropical areas of the world, and some even being found in the hot spring pools as far north as Banff, Alberta. As the name suggests, they all bear live young, but differences in between the species as how those young are birthed. Some do have
Lost in the sauce.
lost in this, yeah. But there are some that actually do exhibit a little bit of what is called matrotrophy, where they literally means mother feeding, where the actual mother provides the resources to the developing offspring after fertilization, similar to how a lot of higher species, especially like mammals and birds, where the mother provides either through the egg or the actual body, through the body of the mother itself. They show a kind of a variety of reproductive adaptations, with some of the pregnant females basically being a swimming egg sac. There are quite a number of genera that fall under this family. Go to our next family, Tyler,
which is Aphanidae. These are the oriental killifish. There's about 42 species. They inhabit inland waters, rivers, and lagoons. They extend from the Mediterranean throughout the neighboring countries to the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. Uh, some have very small region. Yes, some have very small distributions and are under serious threat. Most grow to a relatively small length, no more than 6 inches. They have moderately elongated bodies, as you can see in the image, and only flattened slightly at the sides. They have a short mouth and tricuspid teeth. They have complete scales, but they can also be those scales can also be reduced or absent depending on the species. They live in small and tiny bodies of water with fresh brackish or seawater. That includes springs, ponds, swamps, lagoons, canals, or even ditches. Uh, Most often connected to the sea and have a high content of sulfides or magnesium compounds. And that salinity can fluctuate greatly throughout the day and night. We'll
All
bring us
right.
to our next group.
Next family is the family Valensinae. These are the Valencia tooth carps. There's only one genus, Valencia, covering only 3 species, um, restricted to southern Europe, thus the Valencia being, I believe, in Italy.
Sound about right.
A lot of their evolution has been driven by shifts in the Mediterranean and Percomorphs Sea, which is a very historic sea that was in kind of the Eastern Europe area before the Mediterranean. Our last family in this order
Is going to be Procatopoidae. Those are the African lampeyes. They are a family of ray-finned fish.
as all of these are.
Yeah, yep. Um, Despite containing mostly African genera, the South American Fluvophylax was formerly in this, which was the American lampeye.
Yes.
There's not much about these guys. There's a lot of genera. There's a lot of genera to this. There's 14 genera and 2 subfamilies. But in terms of like body plan, not much to it.
No, sir.
That'll bring us to our next order. These guys are. There's not many families, but there's a lot of species. I know that for a
Yes.
fact.
Cycliforms, starting with the family Polycentridae, the African and South American leaf fishes. They were formerly placed all the way back in the Anabantiforms in the family Nanidae, but they have since been separated and are now placed in the Cycliforms. They are very specialized ambush predators resembling leaves, even to their swimming style, where it's kind of like resembling a drifting leaf through the water. They feed typically on aquatic insects or other smaller fish. Typically have large heads with very cryptic coloring and a very large protractile mouth, so take they can capture prey that is almost as large as they are. They are kind of unique in the aquarium trade, because of those intriguing behaviors, but they are not easily kept within. Covers 4 genera with only most of these genus only having 1 species and one of them containing 2.
That'll bring us to our next group, which is going to be Cichlidae, who also has the cichlids. This is the largest group of the family, of the suborder, having at least 1,700 species, with new ones being described every year. So we could be somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 species. They're found in the Neotropics, Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. One of the most famous members would be the tilapia, an important food fish. Other species are valued game fish, very popular. I'm not sure which ones those would be off the top of my head.
I'm not sure either.
But there's also a lot of popular aquarium fish like the angelfish, Oscars, and discus. Although they're very popular, there's still a number of endangered species among the group. They have a wide variety of body plans, from as small as 1 inch to some approaching 1 meter in length. They have Some have very strongly laterally compressed shapes, while others are cylindrical and elongated. Although they have a lot of different body plans and stuff, they have one single key trait, which is the fusion of the lower pharyngeal bones into a single tooth-bearing structure. And as I said, they're kind of spread throughout most of the tropics, through greatly diverse in Africa and South America. Africa alone has at least 1,600 species. Wow, Central America and Mexico have about 120. And they have a variety of feeding habits. Some are carnivorous, some are herbivorous, some are omnivorous, and some are detritivores. So they pretty much encompass the entire trophic pyramid by
Yeah.
themselves. That's mostly what I have.
Family for this order is Pholodictes. This is a monogeneric family containing only two species. These guys, it looks like they are most likely marine. Here we go. There's one species. The species I've pulled up is known as the convict blenny or the engineer blenny, native to the west central Pacific Ocean, but it is neither a blenny nor a goby, as the common names suggest. It can get relatively large, up to 60 centimeters or 24 inches in length, with the juveniles resembling the striped catfish, which is venomous, giving them a bit of an advantage. The possible predators think they are these venomous fish that they resemble. It's taking us to a new order with two new families, starting with the family Ambassadei, which is the Asiatic glassfish.
So these guys are native to Asia, freshwater and marine habitats. Some species are known as perchlets. The largest species reach about 10 inches, and they have transparent or semi-transparent bodies, as you can see in the image. You can see that lateral line and a lot of the bones that take place within the body, which makes them kind of cool for the aquarium trade. The Indian glassy fish is transparent, but some specimens have been injected with artificial coloring to make them more novelty pets, making them known as painted fish. That's all I have for these guys.
And family covers 8 genera with about 51 species. Other family within this order are the mullet. Um, is the family Magillidae. These are found worldwide in coastal, temperate, and tropical waters. There are a couple freshwater species. They've been an important food source dating all the way back to the times of the Romans and the ancient Egyptians. There are about 78 species and 26 genera. They are distinguished by having two separate dorsal fins, very small triangular mouths, and an absence of a lateral line. They typically feed on detritus, with many of them having very unusually muscular stomachs and a very complex pharynx that helps in their digestion.
Bringing us to our next order of fish, the blenniforms. Uh, the first family we have is going to be Pseudochromidae. These are the dottybacks. These are the most basal blenniforms. There's about 152 species belonging to this family. Within the four subfamilies, they are found in the tropical and subtropical Indo-Pacific, mostly inhabiting coral reefs. Many are brightly colored, showing sexual dimorphism. Most are generally small, about 4 inches in length, some even less than an inch. The largest by far is Congregatus subducens, which is about 1 foot 6 inches. They are distinguished from the other families by the presence of 3 or less spines in the dorsal fin and an incomplete lateral line, and they are often popular in the marine aquarium trade.
Next family is the family Plesiopidae. These are known as the long fins or the roundheads. They were once placed in the order of the Percomorphs, but they are now considered basal blenniforms, found in the Indian and Western Pacific Oceans. They are covered by two subfamilies, with about 10 or 12, about 12 genera within those two subfamilies.
That'll bring us to our next group, Pomacentidae. These are the damselfish and clownfish. These were also formerly Percomorphs before being basal bleniforms. They're primarily marine with a few freshwater or brackish species. They are noted for hardy constitutions and territorialness. They're bright colored, so they're very popular in aquaria. There's about 385 species. Um, the two genera Amphiprion and Premnis are the clownfish or anemone fish, so like Nemo, while the other members are the damselfish. They are found in tropical seas with a few species occurring in subtropical water. Most are found on or near coral reefs. And the areas from the Philippines to Australia host the greatest concentration of these guys. And obviously, as you know, if you don't know already, most clownfish or anemone fish have some type of symbiosis with sea anemones where they can live within them and not get stung by their ctenophores.
Our next family is the family Embryotosidae. These are the surf perches. These are mainly found in the Northeast Pacific, but can be found as far south as Baja California. And a couple genera are found in the Northwest Pacific. And then one species, the tool perch, is found in the freshwater of California in the United States. The largest of these being the barred surf perch, reaches about just under 50 centimeters or just under 20 inches in length. And the other large species is the rubber lipped surf perch, which grows about 47 centimeters or 18 and a half inches in length. They are viviparous. The embryo is nourished directly from the mother as well as from a yolk sac. So that's what gives the family its scientific name, from the Greek embryos meaning persistent and tokos meaning birth. Thus, the mothers give birth to live fish instead of laying eggs.
Next to our next group, Grammatidae. They are a smaller family. And they are now bleniforms. Prior to this, they were in that order Perciforms. They are known as the basslets. They are marine fish found in the tropical western Atlantic Ocean. They're characterized by a broken or absent lateral line, and the largest species reach only about 10 centimeters in max length. And due to their bright colors, as you can see in the image, they are popular in marine aquaria.
Our next family is Opisthonathidae. These are the jawfishes. These are found in the warmer parts of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, typically at shallow depths down to about a few hundred meters. There are about 80 species in this family. Similar to most of the other blennies, they are small fish, only reaching of about 10 centimeters or just under 4 inches in length, but there are a couple species that can reach about half a meter or 1 foot 8 inches in length. The head, mouth, and eyes are pretty large compared to the rest of their bodies. Typically, they burrow into sandy substrate. They create a little kind of tunnel that they will back into using sand and spit, and they use these burrows to protect themselves, but they will kind of hover just out of their burrow, feeding on plankton and other small organisms. And they will dart back into their burrows at the first sign of danger, and they are quite territorial of that area around their burrow. They are covered by 4 genera with those 80 species.
Our next group is going to be Gobisochidae. These are the clingfish. They're fairly small, and they live in the tropical and temperate regions, mostly near the coast, but a few species live further off the deeper seas or even fresh water. Most species shelter in the reefs or seagrass beds, clinging to rocks, algae, and seagrass with their sucking disc, hence how they get their name. They're typically too small to be of any interest, like commercial fisheries, only going to about 3 inches, but the smallest is about a half inch long. I'm trying to see if they're in aquaria, but it doesn't look like it.
It looks like very occasionally in the marine aquarium trade.
Yeah, they're pretty small and not super colorful.
Yeah.
So that'll take us to our next group.
Our next family is Tripterigidae. These are the triple fin blennies. They are a small small fish found in tropical and temperate waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. They have about 150 species and 30 genera. They kind of get their name because their dorsal fin is separated into three parts. The first two being very kind of having some spines, and the last one, I think, only having one or two. The largest species is only about 20 centimeters in length, but most do not exceed 6 centimeters. Many of them are brightly colored, but some also have camouflage. Um, that coloring makes them very popular fish. They typically spend their time uh, around coral and rocks in the ocean, in those shallow, clear waters, or as well as lagoons and reefs. They're typically very nervous, retreating back into those rock crevices at any perceived threat. Um, they are diurnal and quite territorial, with a lot of species exhibiting sexual dichromatism, meaning the females are very drab colors compared to the males, as well as that second dorsal fin can be very extended in the males of some species compared to the females, and most of their diet is small invertebrates.
That'll take us to the next group, the comb-toothed blennies, or the blenniforms. Oh, blennidae, my bad. They are the largest family of the blennies, with about 400 known species in 58 genera. They are found in tropical and subtropical waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. Some can even be found in brackish and fresh water. Um, they have that same body plan of all the other blennies: blunt heads and large eyes with continuous dorsal fins. They have compressed, elongated, and scaleless bodies, and as their name would say, they have comb-like teeth lining their jaws. The largest species is the hairtail blenny at 53 centimeters, although most numbers are much, much smaller, and they are popular in the aquarium trade due to their high activity and highly and vibrant colors.
Our next family is the family Clinidae. These are the kelp blennies. As the name suggests, they live kind of around kelp forests um, in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans in both hemispheres. Um, they are more temperate, meaning that they live further away from the equator. There are about 86 species in 20 genera, even up to 20. I think some of them even classified up to 26 genera. I think depending on where you look. The largest is the giant kelpfish, which is the image I have pulled up, that gets about 60 centimeters long. Most are much smaller. They have small cycloid scales, thus giving some of the members of the family the name snake or eel blennies. They have a lot of variety as far as their colors, some being very, very brightly colored, some being a bit more cryptic in a reddish brown to olive colors, which helps them blend in the areas they live, which, as I said, was those kind of dense weeds and kelp forests. They tend to stay within the intertidal zones out to about 40 meters in depth, some being found even in tide pools. They feed primarily on crustaceans and mollusks within their areas.
Our next group is going to be Labrathomidae. These guys are more blennies. There's about 110 species and 15 genera. They're stockier than the average blenny, but they still have that elongated body form. They have more spines on their dorsal fin than softer rays. And they have long, slender pelvic fins. And they have structures called cirri, which are like whiskers on their heads, and napes, which would be like that chin area. They have cycloid scales that might be absent on some species. And they are often brightly colored. They are benthic fish, spending most of the time near the bottom of rocky and sandy substrates, although oftentimes found at reefs as well.
Next family is Canopsidae. These are known as the pike or tube blennies. These are strictly tropical, found primarily in from North to South America, but there are some that are present off the coasts of Japan, Taiwan, and Korea. 14 genera covering 91 species, the largest being the sarcastic fringehead, growing only to about 1 foot in length or 30 centimeters. The smallest being considered one of the smallest of all the vertebrates, measuring only about 1.3 centimeters or 51
half an inch.
half an 0.51 half an inch in length as adults. Typically scaleless and lacking lateral lines, but they do have those very large dorsal fins. They are called tube bunnies because they have a habit of taking up abandoned worm tubes, as well as empty clam shells that they use as nesting sites. And crustaceans are what make up most of their diet.
I'm going to try the last group of this subseries. That is the family Dactyloscopidae. These are the sand stargazers. They are found in temperate and tropical waters of North and South America. The giant sand stargazer is the largest at 15 centimeters. Everything else is under 10 centimeters. They have protruding eyes on the top of their heads, fixed in an upward gaze. They may even be on stalks. They also have large upturned mouths with a long dorsal fin that may or may not be continuous depending on the species. The anal fin is equally long to the dorsal fin. As the name would suggest, they spend most of their time buried in sandy substrates, waiting for prey, where only the eyes, nose, and mouth are typically visible. And they use a branchiostegal pump rather than a opercular pump for respiration. That's all I have for these guys.
Cool.
That'll bring us to our last sub-series,
Yes.
which is still gigantic.
This one is a doozy. The first order within this subseries is the order Percomorphs.
Yes.
So this is this last subseries, all of the orders are quite large, containing a lot of families, but Percomorphs being the largest. We will try to cover these as quickly as we can without boring you too much. We might shorten up our each family as we go through this one. But our first family, the family Serenidae, these are the sea basses. This covers 450 species and 65 genera. These include some of the sea basses and the groupers. They are found in tropical and subtropical seas worldwide, many of them being brightly colored, generally a very robust form with large mouths and small spines on their gill coverings. Typically have several rows of sharp teeth, some of them having very large canine-like teeth on their lower jaws.
Anything else?
Now, trying to keep these ones a little short just to not to bore.
Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling because we could spend
another day.
Hours. Yeah.
Our next group is going to be Antheidae. These are also known as Anthidae or Anthinae, but those are also a family of ground beetles. So they're mostly small, pretty popular ornamental fish for aquariums. They have complex social structures, and they can shoal by the thousands. And they are found in tropical oceans of the world, first described in the Mediterranean and Northeast Atlantic. Our next group
is the family Epinepheliddae. These are primarily known as long considered a subfamily of the sea bass. They are now treated as their own family. They have, there's a handful of genera that fall under these. The name grouper is typically given to fish of the two large genera, Epinephelus and Mycteroperca. They are typically larger fish, having very stout bodies with large mouths. They are not very fast. The largest in this group is the Atlantic Goliath grouper, which get very large. The largest being almost 400 kilos, or just under 900 pounds, and being about 2.4 meters, or just under 8 feet in length.
That'll bring us to our next group, Lypropomatidae, the painted basslets. They are found in the Indo-Pacific and the Western Atlantic, and that's pretty much all these guys have on them.
Only 6 genera
Yeah, and they're known to secrete the mucus-like toxin gramestin. Yes.
Very interesting. All right. Next is the family Today, these are also known as the soapfish. Another family with not a whole lot about them. Found tropical oceans worldwide, with them being covered by 8 genera. Formerly considered part of the family Serranidae, but now treated as their own distinct family. That will take us to the family Percidae.
Yeah, these are a found in the fresh and brackish waters of the northern hemisphere. Majority are Nearctic, which would be like close to the Arctic Circle. The family contains nearly 250 species and 12 genera. These are the true poachers as well as their relatives, so that would be like walleye, ruffy, sauger, and some members of the darters are also part of this family. Most of the species diversity is within the darters, restricted to the eastern North America. Um, Besides the darters, there's only about 20 species.
Yeah, these are very popular food fish, specifically the perch, walleye, sauger.
Let's move to our next group.
Our next group is the family Nymphonidae. These are the Ara or Ara groupers, or just the Ara. A monospecific family. So just the fish, the Ara fish, Niphon spinosus, in one genus found in the Western Pacific Ocean from Japan to the Philippines, where it inhabits rocky reefs and inshore waters with rocky seabeds, getting about 1 meter or just over 3 feet in length.
Our next group is going to be Trichinidae. These are the weavers. There's about 9 species. Uh, they are long, about 37 centimeters, mostly brown in color, and they have venomous spines on their first dorsal fin and gills. During the day, they bury themselves in the sand, showing just their eyes, and they snatch prey as it comes past, typically shrimp and other small fish. They do not have swim bladders, and will sink as soon as they stop actively swimming, and that's the majority of the important part.
Okay. Our next family is Brembropidae. These are the flatheads or duckbill flatheads. This is a family native to the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans, formerly placed in the family Percophidae, um, but they have been more recently separated into their own family. They are covered by 2 genera, um, typically benthic fish with an anteriorly depressed head and a broad, flat snout.
That brings us to the next group, which is going to be Percophidae. These are the Brazilian flatheads. Uh, it's the most basal member of its suborder. Occurs in the southwestern Atlantic off the coast of South America, from southern Brazil to central Argentina. It is commercially fished and considered overfished in southern Brazil.
They are covered by 3 genera, not a whole lot about them. They are characterized by protrusible, but not a very elongated snout. They have a fairly long compressed body with just 2 dorsal fins and no swim bladder.
That'll bring us to our next group, which is going to be Pseudophoridae. These are known as the Congoli, with a freshwater flathead. It is the only species of its family, and they are found in freshwater, brackish water, and marine waters around southeastern Australia, including Tasmania. Lives mostly in slow-moving estuaries, rivers, and streams, in water temperatures from 5 to 20 degrees Celsius. And it migrates from April to August to the sea to breed.
Our next family is Elenganopidae. These are the Patagonian blennies. This is another monotypic family. Uh, the Patagonian blenny being the only species within this family, found in coastal and estuary habitats off of the southernmost parts of South America. First described in the 1830s, but possibly as far back as the 1810s. Typically omnivorous, tending more towards carnivorous feeding style. They are they appear to be a protandrous hermaphrodite, So that means that once they get to a certain size, they shift from male to female.
That'll bring us to our next group.
Yes.
Notothenidae, these are the cod ice fish. They're found in the Southern Ocean. They have elongate bodies, typically between 4 inches to 85, depending on the species. As I said, they're found in the Southern Ocean, which means that they have to survive in cold waters. So to do that, they have an uptake of glycoproteins in their bloodstream to help that blood from freezing. Well, they also have no swim bladder, but they have increased fatty tissues and reduced bone mineralization to keep the body density neutral, so that they can kind of go up and down the water column without the swim bladder.
Yes. Our next family is Harpagiferidae. These are known as the plunder fish. These are found typically in the Southern Ocean, um, having only 5 genera within this family. There's not a whole lot about them specifically. As I said, in that Southern Ocean, they are found kind of in that sub-Antarctic and sub-Antarctic region. Some being as deep as 200 meters, but primarily a littoral species or a littoral family.
Next is going to be Bathydraconidae. They're an Antarctic dragonfish, also found out in the Southern Ocean in the deep waters of Antarctica. They have long, slender bodies uh, with no spiny first dorsal fin, and they could have 1, 2, 3, or 5 lateral lines.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and they've been found as deep as almost 10,000 feet. That brings us to our next group.
Our next family is Canichthyridae. These are known as the crocodile icefish or the white-blooded fish, um, native to the Southern Ocean of Antarctica. They are the only vertebrates known to lack hemoglobin in their blood as adults. So the blood protein that carries oxygen, they lack this, so it makes their blood clear or white in color, um, which is a pretty significant adaptation because they live in those areas where the water temperatures are either range from sub freezing to just above freezing, typically very cold. There are only 16 species of crocodile icefish currently recognized.
That'll bring us to our next group, Platycephalidae. These are known as flatheads, relatives of lionfish. They're small to medium size, which is about 10 centimeters in length, although a couple are known to go up to a meter in length. They have a flattened head, and they are known to have a bottom-dwelling lifestyle and are oftentimes submerged under the substrate.
Next family is the family Hoplichthyes, or the ghost flatheads, native to the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is the only member of the family. They are called this because of they kind of have a very let me go back here. Sorry, they're also known as the spiny flatheads, which in the picture I pulled up, you can see that their dorsal fins are have very long spines to them, giving them their name. There are 17 species in this one genus. As the other flathead has very wide flathead with a long body, but that has no scales, but the very notable spines on the back. Found near the continental shelf and slope, between 50 to 1,500 meters in depth.
I'm going to start our next group, Tryglidae. These are the gurnards or the sea robins. They are bottom-feeding scorpionoid fish. So they have wing-like pectoral fins, and as well they have leg-like, what is the word for this? Spines that they use to kind of keep the ventral side off of the sand, and it kind of acts as like a walking aid on the substrate.
Our next family is the family Bemberdae, the deep water flatheads, found in the Indian and Western Pacific Oceans. They have four recognized genera, primarily. They they their heads are only slightly flattened, and they have small, kind of spiny ridges, which kind of a little different from what their common name suggests. The next family is the family Senacidae, which are stonefish. Whoops, that is not tab.
There we go. These are a group of Percomorphs found in the Indo-Pacific region, closely related to scorpion fish. Um, Many members are venomous, and they have a specialization known as the lacrimal saber, which is a spine found under each eye, being attached to the lacrimal bone, hence the name, that is projected forward via movement of the maxilla. So it moves its mouth, and the spine come up out of the eyes, and those are able to inject venom.
Yes. Next family, Neosabastidae, or the Gurnard scorpionfish, um, found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Several of the species are venomous, thus being related to the stonefish. There are only two genera within this. They are characterized by a prominent head with large eyes and a large.
Next is Scorpionidae. They are.
Did you skip one?
Did I skip one?
Yeah.
Oopsies. Plectrogenidae. There we go. These are the stinger flatheads. That's it.
Yep. Not a lot about them. Two genera within this family. Now, Scorpionidae. These are the scorpion fish. Mostly marine fish, including some of the world's most venomous fish. They Their sting is from the sharp spines that are covered in a venomous mucus. They are found in tropical and temperate seas, primarily in the Indo-Pacific region. They have 39 genera covering at least 388 species. The lionfish fall within this family.
I'm going to our next group, Conchiopotus. These are pigfish, horsefish, racehorses, whatever you want to name them, found in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. They have a compressed body with a prominent snout, as you can see in the image, a terminal mouth, and a single nostril on each side. Has small gill openings over the pectoral fins, and sometimes have no scales, and if they are present, are tiny and spiny.
The next family is Xenchlorhynchidae. These are the horsefish. Not a whole lot about them. They are native to the Southern Ocean with two genera.
Next is Normanichthyidae, also known as the barehead scorpion fish. It's a only member of its genus and family and suborder, and is a slender fish with a maximum length of 4 inches. Has one spine. Body is covered with tenoid scales, and the head is unarmored. That's all.
Next is the family Enoplopmatidae, the sablefish. They are native to the northern Pacific Ocean, covering two monospecific genera, ranging to maximum length of about 180 centimeters or 72 inches.
Next is going to be the Xaniolepididae. These are conefish. They have a deep incision in the rear third of their dorsal fin, and they have the first three spines in the dorsal fin are highly elongated, as you can see in the image. The anal fin has 3 spines, while the first 2 rays in the pelvic fins are long and robust, and these fish reach about 10 inches in length.
Next is the family Hexagramidae. These are the greenlings, native to the northern Pacific Ocean, covering a whopping 4 genera, characterized by having cirri but no ridges or spines on the heads, 1 to 5 lateral lines, and they grow about a maximum of 152 centimeters or 60 inches in length, but typically only 50 centimeters or 20 inches in length.
So next is going to be Rhamphocodidae, the horse-head sculpins. They occur in the North Pacific. They have a single pharyngobranchial bone, about 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches long. with the largest species reaching 12 inches long, and they are found from Japan to the coast of Alaska and South Carolina. California, my bad. That's it.
Next is the family Jordanidae, a small family found in the eastern North Pacific Ocean, containing only 3 monotypic genera. Um, they have a single phareobranchial on the gill arch, and they are only about a maximum of 20 centimeters or just under 8 inches in length. Found commonly in the intertidal zone down to about 140 meters in depth.
Next is going to be Codidae. These are the sculpins. There's about 118 species and 18 genera. The vast majority are either freshwater or amphidromous, meaning they can survive in both. So these would be like freshwater sculpins.
Yes.
That are very small, only about 4 inches in length.
Yes. Our next family is Psychrolutidae. These are the marine or flathead sculpins, also the blobfish.
Heck yeah.
Found in cool temperate waters throughout the northern hemisphere and a couple in the cold deep waters of the southern hemisphere. Mostly marine habitats, but there are a couple that do range into fresh waters. Its greatest diversity is in the northern Pacific Ocean. There are 216 species and 63 genera.
Next is going to be Agonidae. These are small bottom-dwelling marine fish with a load of common names, including poachers, sea ravens, alligator fish. They're notable for elongated bodies covered by scales or modified into bony plates. And they have large pectoral fins to move in short bursts. Family includes about 60 species and 25 genera and are quite widespread.
Our next family is the family Trichodontidae. These are known as the sand fishes, again native to the northern Pacific Ocean. 3 monotypic genera, one of them being an extinct genus, characterized by having small, deep but highly compressed bodies, and are typically kind of a silvery color. As I said, northern Pacific Ocean from Japan to California, found often in the intertidal zone down to 400 meters in depth, and they are mainly nocturnal.
So next is going to be Cyclopteridae. These are the lump suckers.
Lumpfish.
Yeah, those two. They're nearly spherical with generally drab coloration. The sucker part refers to the modified pelvic fins, which have evolved adhesive discs similar to remoras so they can adhere to their substrate instead of fish. Species have bony tubercles around the head and body. And that's most of it.
Next family is Liparidae. These are the snail fish. They are widely distributed from the Arctic to the Antarctic Oceans and everywhere in between. 30 genera covering 410 described species, ranging in pretty much from the shallow coastal waters all the way down to over 8,000 meters or over 27,000 feet deep, including all 7 ocean trenches.
Next is going to be Hypoptychidae. This is the Korean sand lace. It has an elongate body, which has no scales, scutes, or spines. Its dorsal and anal fins are placed well back on the body towards the caudal fin. There's no pelvic girdle or pelvic fins. The pectoral fin has 9 rays, and then they are roughly 4 inches in size.
Next family is the family Gasterostidae, which are the sticklebacks. These are found in all fresh, brackish, and marine waters. They were originally thought to be related to the pipefish and seahorse, but now more closely related to the sculpin. There are 16 species in 5 genera. They are endemic to the temperate waters, as I said, primarily in the ocean, but can be found in fresh water. They are carnivorous, feeding on insects, crustaceans, and fish larvae, but they do not get very big, with the largest getting only about 22 centimeters or just under 9 inches in length, but the majority being about adulthood.
That'll bring us to our next group, Ovalentaria, also known as the tube snouts. They are found in the North Pacific, and they look like elongated sticklebacks with long, slender bodies and 15 small spines to the front of the dorsal fin. Uh, they produce an adhesive substance in their kidneys, which helps them create egg massage, which they attach to kelp.
Next family is Bathymasteridae. These are the ronquil, found only in Arctic and North Pacific waters. There are 7 species in 3 genera. The larger species are commercial food fish. They are named after their name means one who grunts. So I'm not sure if that comes from probably has to do with the way when they are brought to the surface, they may make a grunting sound, probably due to the air leaving their body. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's about all I have. Primarily feeding on benthic crustaceans and mollusks.
All right, next is going to be Sebedicthyidae. These are the monkey face pricklebacks. There's 3 genera within this group, and they range in size, I believe, growing no more than, I had it here, 30 inches.
Next family is the family Stachyidae. These are colloquially known just as the pricklebacks, primarily found in the northern Pacific Ocean, but there are some that are found in the North Atlantic as well. They're covered under 17 genera. They have elongated bodies that are not very compressed and a long dorsal fin with a lot of sharp spines, thus giving them their name. They typically have a pyloric ceca, but not a swim bladder to help move up and down in the water column. Typically, coastal fish found beneath rocks and algae in the intertidal zone.
Next is going to be Skytalenidae. This is the gravel diver. It's the only species in its family. They are small with snake-like heads. Their bodies are compact and lack pelvic fins, with very small pectoral fins. And their range is the coastal areas from the Bering Sea to central California. And they are very small, no more than 4 inches.
The next family, Opisthocentridae, the rear-spined fin pricklebacks, a mouthful. They are also found in North Pacific Ocean. They named such because their spines are primarily towards the 11th or 12th rays of the dorsal fin. They only have 6 genera found near coastal algae beds to the edge of the continental shelf. The largest being about 46 centimeters or 18 inches, but otherwise there's not much known.
All right, next is going to be Teleosts. This is the quillfish. Has an extremely elongated, slender body with tall dorsal and anal fins, which make the fish similar in shape to a quill pen. The small head is about 7% of the length of the body, and they get to about 16 inches long. And they live in the North Pacific Oceans from the Bering Sea to the south of Oregon and the Sea of Japan in the Western Pacific.
Nice. Our next family is Pholidae. These are known as the gunnels. These are typically littoral fish found in the North Pacific, but as well as the Northern Atlantic and Arctic Ocean. Only about 4 surviving genera. They have these long compressed bodies that resemble the blennies, with a single continuous dorsal fin, maximum length getting to be about 46 centimeters or 18 inches in the penpoint gunnel.
Next is Zephyroridae, also known as the prowfish. They're found in the northern Pacific. It's the only member of its family. Well, there's 2 extinct members known. They range from the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, west to Russia, down to Hokkaido, Japan, and Monterey, California. And they are important to subsistence fisheries in remote regions. And they grow about 35 inches.
Okay. Next family is Cyprotacanthoides. Sorry, the family is Cyprotacanthoididae, with the genus being It's a monogeneric family, the genus being Cypriptecanthoides, also known as the rye mouse. There are four species, three of them being in the Pacific and one being native to the Western Atlantic. They are typically benthic fish tunneling into soft substrates. And the name is reference to the spines on the dorsal fin that are kind of hidden within a membrane.
All right, next is going to be Lumpenidae. These are the eel pricklebacks found in the North Pacific, Arctic, and North Atlantic Oceans, and that's most of this group.
Yeah, there is 8 genera within this family.
Yes.
Yes. Next family, Eulophidae. These are the spinous eel palps. There we go. Native to the northwestern Pacific Ocean. There are only 3 genera with about 4 to 5 species within those genera. They're characterized by having a almost completely spiny dorsal fin. And they either have absent pectoral fins or they only have about 7 rays. And they have very few teeth, but found off of Japan, Korea, and the far eastern part of Russia.
All right, next is going to be Neozoicae. These are the largemouth kissing eel pouts, family of marine fish found in the North Pacific Ocean, and there are 2 genera to these guys. There's no picture. Next to our next group
Is Enarchaeidae. These are called the wolf fishes or wolf eels. Native to the cold waters of the Arctic and northern Pacific and northern Atlantic Oceans. They are named such because they were, and the ancient belief was that they were able to leave the water and climb up onto the rocks, thus becoming like the wolves, I guess. Kind of not very well defined as why. Kind of other than that, the Greek name means to climb up or to scramble up. There are 2 genera covering 5 species.
Our last group of this order is going to be the eel pouts of Zoarcidae. They are eel-like in appearance, hence the name. There are 300 species of marine bottom-dwelling deep sea members found in the northern hemisphere of the Arctic, North Pacific, and North Atlantic Oceans primarily. They have demersal eggs, which are deposited on the seafloor, either free or connected to the substrate. And they are the largest compared to any other marine egg cluster, growing to almost 10 millimeters. And the average length of the fish is only about 26 centimeters.
Nice. All right. New order.
I think for the rest of these orders, we should just go over the subfamilies within the orders.
That may be a good.
That might be the move because there's still 3 pages of families to go
through.
We
have a lot of families still remaining. We'll hit some of our.
We'll highlight some species.
Yes, we'll highlight some species because in this next order is where, at least to us, there's some very notable fish within this next order. So the next order is the Centrarchiforms. These under this order are some very notable game and food fish, such as the North American sunfish and basses, as well as the temperate perch.
Yeah, so our first sub-order would be Percomorphs. These are the Australian bass, and there's only 2 species in this entire suborder because it's only one genus. The estuary perch and the Australian bass, and I believe, they're very popular game fish of Australia. It's not saying that in my notes, but I'd assume that if they're anything like North American bass.
Correct.
That'll bring us to our next group, Alex.
Our next group is the Tetrapontoidae. This is the
nibblers, half-moons, sea chirps, flagtails, grunters, galjoins, knife jaws, blowhole perch, and stripies.
Yes. Um,
There's not much on the suborder to begin with.
no, there is not. I'll give you a picture of these guys, ranging from marine to, I believe, some primarily marine, I believe, but as well as some freshwater fish found all over. Many of them being popular commercial or game fish, um, a variety of sizes, from the smaller blowhole perch, which are endemic to the southwestern coast of Australia, um, to the grunters and the galjoins being much larger, about 80 centimeters, the largest species, making them those very popular. There's not a lot specifically on each uh, family within the genus or within the suborder. So that'll take us probably to the most important and well-known suborder within this order is the Centrocoideae.
Yes, this would include North American sunfish and bass, pygmy sunfish, which also live in North America, Chinese perch, old wise, which are a marine species, temperate perch, um, southern bass, and jut jaws. So at least the family Centroideae are very popular game fish for at least in North America, and they've been introduced in other parts of the world as well for sport. This includes rock bass, largemouth, bluegill, pumpkin seed, crappies, and they're highly valued panfish for sport fishing.
They all have a somewhat similar body plan to the one I pulled up. They either have that kind of more rounded shape, or they're a bit more elongated in that bass, what we would consider like the bass or perch shape, similar to this image here. They tend to have that between those two primary shapes found in both fresh brackish, and I think some of them are in salt waters, like the some of the southern bass, like the southern bass, I believe.
Yeah.
Old wives. That will take us to our last suborder, Ceratoidae.
And this includes hawkfish, kelpfish, mugglefish, fingerfins, and trumpeters.
In this, they are a lot of more marine fish. They are characterized by having their pelvic fins placed pretty far back compared to the pectoral fins. Typically, they also have 3 spines on their anal fins.
We'll bring us to our next order.
Yes.
We're going to labriforms.
We're not specifically trying to ignore any of the cool families within these. It's just
we
are
approaching the hour 4.
Yes, and we know that you guys are probably getting bored with listening to us talk.
So there are 2 suborders within labriforms. Labroidae has the false scorpion fish, the wrasses, and parrotfish. Parrotfish are cool because
parrotfish are actually pretty cool. We'll cover them a little more. They are a very important reef fish because they actually feed on coral, and thus a lot of sand that you find is actually a result of the feeding of the parrotfish, as well as some of the wrasse, because they have those very beak-like mouths, which allows them to eat the hard coral.
yes. There's a lot of wrasse species.
Yes.
That'll bring us into our second suborder, which would include the sand lances, stargazers, southern sandfish, sand perches, and torrent fish. And these are similar to the ones we covered prior, where they are like the flatheads and things like that, where they're like benthic, demersal species, like that. And some are freshwater, some are saltwater. The torrent fish are found in coastal regions where sand perches and stargazers are found in marine ecosystems.
Yes.
Next order is going to be acropomatoforms. And to my knowledge, there's nothing incredible within this.
Yeah, within the acropomattiforms, there's 20 families covering 300 species. These are like the gnome fish, lantern bellies, wreckfish, the Asian sea perches, giant sea basses, the banjo fish, which I believe is what I have pulled up,
Yes.
deep sea herring. They are like they found all over. Like the giant sea bass is native to the eastern Pacific, getting 2.5 meters or over 8 feet in length and weighing over 250 kilos or 560 pounds. They are all marine fish. Some do live in some brackish water, but there are no freshwater species within this uh, order. Uh, they have Some of them do show bioluminescence, which has arisen like 4 or 5 times independently within the order.
Anything else?
That's kind of all I have on these. Is a lot of different families, but they all kind of cover the same.
Next
They're
will
all
be the.
fairly similar.
We'll move on into acanthoropforms, which is a large order of mostly marine ray-fin fish. These are this order is a lot of the popular reef fish, like the Moorish idol, surgeonfish, angelfish, butterflyfish, rabbitfish,
Snappers.
snapper, some drums, and other bass.
Within this, there's a lot of popular game and food fish, especially within the reef. As Tyler said, primarily your reef fish. There's only one pelagic member, and that is the uvar,
Yes.
showing a variety of different forms from the drums having a more kind of, like I've shown here, a kind of more stout, rounded body plan, and others showing a bit more of the disc shape body plan as I've pulled up here. And then in between, more of that elongated, the generic fish shape that we have talked about.
Yes. That's all we have for these guys.
I think so. That'll take us to our second to last order, the lophiforms.
These are the anglerfish and their relatives. So they're very predatory. Most of the time, they have a modified dorsal fin ray that acts as a lure. Whether it's bioluminescent or not is a different story depending on the genus. That fin ray has the tip being called the esca, and the actual line, like the fishing line, would be the elysium. And different fish lure different prey through different means. Most are bottom dwellers, being demersal fish, while deep sea anglerfish are pelagic. Some live in the deep sea, while others live in shallow waters like frogfish and batfish. And they have that sexual dimorphism, which we've covered a couple times on the show, where in most anglerfish, the female is what you see in 90% of the images.
Yes, and they are significantly larger, even to the point where some of them show that sexual parasitism, where the male basically just fuses to the female's body and then reduces to basically just a pair of sexual organs that is attached to the female. There are 18 families within this order. Now, take us. Our last order is the Tetrodontiforms.
These are like pufferfish and triggerfish.
Yes, yeah, these are pufferfish, triggerfish, as Tyler said.
Ocean sunfish.
Yeah, and as well as the ocean sunfish, which is in the bottom right corner. There are 10 extant families with about 430 species found worldwide, and the majority of them are marine species. There are a couple that are freshwater. Range of sizes. The ocean sunfish getting very large, is the largest of all bony fish, reaching up to 3 meters or almost 10 feet in length and weighing well over 2 tons.
Mola mola.
Yes, mola mola. Many of them are not very good. I wouldn't say they're bad swimmers, but they're not great swimmers, having a fairly rigid body that doesn't really flex laterally or side to side. So they typically rely on their pectoral, dorsal, anal, and caudal fins for propulsion rather than moving their entire body, especially the like the pufferfish, which rely a lot on those pectoral fins. Some of them, like the puffer and porcupine fish, exhibit that using their swim bladder, they will inflate and have either strong plates or spines, and a very tough leathery skin, like the ocean sunfish. But in those puffer and porcupine fish with that ability to inflate, they either it's primarily using sucking water into their stomach, and with these they have these spines that protrude out, and they are covered in a powerful neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin.
And that's gonna do it.
That will finish up the percoforms.
We have finished.
Yes.
Almost finished.
Yes.
Fish are almost done.
Fish are very nearly done. With one more small group left. We apologize for kind of rushing the end there a little bit, but I'm sure you as well as us,
we could have been here for 3 more hours
yes.
talking about fish.
Yeah, if we were just going family by family for those last few, it starts getting very boring. We apologize for not kind of cutting it down sooner and then just pulling out some representatives from each group. But I think you guys all kind of get the gist overall. These are it is a very diverse group of fish covering pretty much everything that hasn't already been covered already, and all sorts of habitats, trophic levels, different body plans. If there's anything you want to hear more specifically about, I think we'd gladly break it down into, if you want to hear more about like a specific family, like the ocean sunfish. They're kind of cool, but they're also very dumb.
Beyond dumb.
Yes.
Anyway,
that will take us now into our last few recurring segments. Don't worry, we are
not quite done.
Not quite done, but we'll kind of move through these somewhat quickly, so that way we don't overstay our welcome.
So, I'll lead us off with our amazing species for the day. We are staying with the Percomorphs. We are talking about the vermilion darter. Beautiful fish. These guys are critically endangered, recently assessed in 2011. And it is listed as critically endangered because its extent of occurrence is less than 100 square kilometers, consists of a single location, and habitat is subject to ongoing declines in quality. The actual area of occupancy is only a little more than 10 square kilometers. And they are only known from the Turkey Creek drainage, which is a tributary of the Locust Fork River of the Black Warrior River system in Jefferson County, Alabama. It has about 11.6 kilometers of the mainstream Turkey Creek and the lowermost reaches of Dry Creek and Beaver Creek. And I believe there's only... Yeah, in the late 90s, there was a population size of 3,300 individuals or less. The effective population was estimated to be about 1,100. And now there's a 71% decline of vermilion darters noted between 1995 and 1998. So we're looking at, I believe, roughly 35, I think was the number I saw.
4 individuals remaining?
Yes.
Sheesh.
I'm not seeing it in here, though.
No, but it's definitely saying, effective population size, it was just over 1,000 individuals, but that was back in the late 90s. So it is not doing too hot.
Yeah. And the primary threats to the species are water quality degradation due to sedimentation and pollutants from urbanization, as well as altered stream flow and water quantity due to construction and maintenance activities and insufficient stormwater management. And that's all I have for these guys. We do have an action recovery plan. So
there we go. Well, that will take us now to our most wanted for today. We're going to keep it. Fortunately, it was such a big group, it's pretty easy to keep it on topic. We're going to go with the masked pufferfish. That is Arthron diadematus. It is related to a lot of the other pufferfish in the sense that is kind of that short, round, kind of stocky build. The main reason why these are considered invasive is because they likely feed on coral as well as crustaceans and mollusks. They're native, or they inhabit a lot of those coral-rich fringe reefs, and are native to the Red Sea and Indian Ocean, but have since been found in areas like Florida. Being a non-native species, they really don't have any predators and have since been able to kind of explode in their population. There's not a ton known on the specific impacts of this species, but it is definitely something that can't be ruled out as a problem. It has most likely was introduced due to aquarium release. Someone probably couldn't continue to maintain them and has then since released them. There more research needs to be done on them before they can specifically classify them as invasive to that area of Florida. But they are definitely, if nothing else, a very um, a species of high probability of becoming invasive.
All right.
And lastly, speaking of fish, we'll go to our ecology encyclopedia.
Today we're talking about ocean currents for our ecology encyclopedia. And ocean currents, in the broadest term, are the patterns in which the waters move.
Pretty much throughout the globe.
Yeah, and that brings with it a lot of things like nutrients, obviously warm water, cold water. I believe your orange currents or your red currents are warm water currents.
Correct. And there are some kind of subcurrents in here that aren't shown in here, but this has a lot of influence in what you find, why you find certain species in the same places, and like why when we talk a lot about like the tropical versus temperate, and why in some areas you can find more those tropical or subtropical fish further north, such as like off of the coast of the eastern United States. Like Gulf Stream takes that warm water further north, so you'll find more of those subtropical species further north on the coast as compared to on California, the western coast, where it is a cold water current that goes down, and it kind of restricts those a little more towards the equatorial and actual tropical waters. And these have a pretty significant influence as well on weather patterns. Why you see things like hurricanes in the Atlantic more than the Pacific, especially off of the eastern coast of like the United States and the Caribbean, is because that warm water flows towards the eastern coast, and it makes kind of provides an excellent spot for those large, especially strong hurricanes to form and then get stronger as they approach the coast. And I'm not sure what else.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, kind of just a broad overview as to like why you see certain species in certain areas compared to others. Like that northern Pacific and northern Atlantic, where the water gets very cold. Why you can see a lot of those similar species there, but you don't see the same, or why a lot of species don't cross, like the Cape of Good Hope in southern Africa, is because that shift from the warm to cold water there at the southern tip of Africa, they don't like to cross those areas because that water coming out of the Antarctic is incredibly cold compared to the nice warm water coming south off of the eastern coast of Africa, and even to the point where you'll see a very distinct line forming between where the two oceans meet, because of the differences in the water density from the cold to warm water. But I think that will do it for today. Kind of a bit of a longer episode, for sure. Kind of a super episode. We wanted to try to cover this last group in one big go, so we hope we didn't bore you all too much. But that will give us one more group of fish that we need to cover before we are done with the fish.
Yes.
Finally.
And once they're done, they're done. We'll move on into amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals.
Keeps getting more interesting.
Plants.
Yes. But as we conclude every episode, of course, Tyler.
Make sure to follow us on Spotify at Life the Complete Story, as well as Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. I still haven't gotten Apple Podcast to work. They're just being dumb with me. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Life Complete Story for clips, amazing species. Facebook for at Life the Complete Story for news articles. Send us an email at lifecompletstory@gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns, the like. Interact with us on all those platforms. Do the algorithm things. Follow us on YouTube at Life Complete Story. If you like to get your podcast there. Alex, as we always say,
The end of every episode, as we always say, is keep on learning, learn something new. You never know what you find interesting. But I've been Alex, and that has been Tyler. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Life the Complete Story.